You mentioned those 11 weeks. What has flicked the switch for you? You barely lost a game and you just seem to be flying at the moment.
Yeah, look, we were pretty open and honest with ourselves after that game against St Kilda around probably having elements of our game that were individually focused, and look, our ability to kind of come back to what the team needs in every moment, role-based execution, and really dialing into what our trademark focus is from a team D and contest perspective, getting those things right. And look, we haven't really been able to put together 4 quarters of consistent footy over that period, but we've now had large portions of game on our terms.
A couple of handy ins tonight. We'll start off with the skipper, Alex Pearce. He's barely played in the last couple of months. The shin hotspot he's been dealing with, do you know that he's going to be able to get through a full game, or is there a bit of an unknown tonight?
No, we know he's going to be able to get through a full game. We've obviously taken our time with this time around. It was probably one that we needed to get a reading of going into the Swans game and see how he would pull up. And he was able to get through that game. It was just middle of the week, he started to get a little bit sore. And look, that's probably a little bit of an unknown even with this game. It's one where he's got as much load into him as he possibly can. We've assessed how the shin's going and the bone stress injury, and it's in a good place. So we're confident he'll be fine tonight. It's just going to be how he pulls up from games.
How's he handled it, not being able to get out there at such an important time of the year?
Yeah, look, he's one of those warriors that he walks over the white line and he's ready to go. So it's been hard as the skipper when the team's been going so well that he hasn't had that opportunity. But to be honest, his work in the 4 walls as the captain, in meetings, on the training track, has been unbelievable. He stayed very close to the AFL program, travel, etc. So he's been really important through that period. And we just know that he comes in today, and we can't forget that he's one of the better key defenders in the competition when he's up and going. So we know that he'll come in and play a really important role with that back 7.
And Nat Fyfe, he's back into the side after that calf strain. 27 touches for Peel Thunder last week in really tricky conditions in 3 quarters. So he's obviously firing and ready to go. But he did that calf in the warm-up. So is he just a bit careful tonight in terms of how he goes about it pre-game?
Yeah, look, the warm-up will be a bit more low-key tonight. He'll take his time getting ready for when he's needed to come on. But as you said, he had a really good hit out last week in the waffle. Looked really composed, and from our perspective, the role that he plays as the sub, even on the bench, how calm he is with our players and the way he can communicate through the game. And then when he come on late in games, he's again a really calm head, which is important in that sub role. So yeah, it's great to have him back, and confident that he'll get through tonight.
Your record here at Adelaide Oval, it's a duck egg. You've never won here against the Power side out of 7 occasions. Is that discussed at all within the group?
No, again, it's one of those things. You need to identify what the strengths are that Port Adelaide play with. Obviously, their ability to energise off half back and take it through the corridor. Their aerial's really strong. And to be honest, there's 4 posts at each end. And those 7 games, probably most of these guys didn't play in them. So we take the game for what it is today. Our focus on making sure that we get back to the footy that we want to play and the brand that we want to play, and taking away Port's strengths and ultimately 120 minutes of contested footy.
Luke Darcy, we've seen you've been able to deploy him full-time in the midfield at times. Is there a chance we'll see a bit of that tonight as well?
Yeah, Jacko we'll see in the middle at times in the role that he's been playing throughout the year when Sean's been back in the team. So our flexibility, whether he starts in the ruck or whether he starts as a mid, and then in that, his ability to go forward at times and provide us a really important option deep out of the square has been something we really like the look of. It's probably a balance of where he's actually been really strong at different times of the game, and also the matchup as well. Sweet's a really powerful ruckman, so him and Jacko going obviously both up against him, and we expect Lord and Whitlock to play a role and help out as well. So love the work that Jacko's doing. He's still growing as a mid and learning that craft with Joel Corey, but in recent weeks, and particularly last week, he's really started to build.
Joe, best of luck tonight.
No worries, thanks.
Fremantle Chairman of Football Joe Bridie downstairs with Braden Ingram in the build-up to Port Adelaide and Fremantle on ABC Sport. There is one late change, so Lockie Jones out with illness for the Power. Christian Murray's the sub, and Jack Whitlock the late in after being omitted originally. And Nat Fyfe the sub for Fremantle. The 33-year-old returns after that calf issue. Looked pretty good in the waffle last week on limited game time, 27 touches. It's just stringing together some consistency. He was a sub twice earlier in the year. Subbed in the round 15 game, and then was the unactivated sub in round 16 because he got injured warming up. Hurt his hamstring at that point. So we just want to see Nat Fyfe. We know he'll return back towards his absolute best, his Brownlow medal form, but you just want to see him out on the park delivering at least his leadership qualities and his explosive bursts, and hopefully he can build up towards September, and that all starts tonight. And gee, this matchup is a sliding doors one. So Brisbane losing to Sydney earlier today by 2 points means if Fremantle win, they'll be in the top 4 by the end of the round. If they lose, they'll likely be in 8th. And as Tomo mentioned before, Brisbane and the Western Bulldogs to come. So you win this and you're probably a shoe-in to play in finals, and you lose it, suddenly it feels like you're going to be the one who doesn't feature in the postseason. Aaron Bryans, Tom Wilson calling the action alongside Scott Thompson and Dean Brogan as part of your ABC Sport call team. And it is quarter time over at Docklands between the Blues and the Suns. Gold Coast lead 5-4-34 to Carlton's 3-1-19. So a 15-point advantage at the first change. And you can hear it on the ABC Listen app through the AFL button. It's a good place to be if you're Fremantle, I reckon. I know they've had an up and down kind of couple of years, and you mentioned before that they fell over in the back end of the last campaign, losing 4 in a row when they were 3rd in round 20. But they've got a very good age profile. So Alex Pearson, Luke Ryan, 29 and 30, but then around that, Bolton's 26, Brayshaw 25, Sarong and Yana 24, Jackson and Tracy are 23, Amos and Voss are 22. So you feel like this side, even though it is currently fighting for top 4, it's just in the beginning of what might be a really nice run as a real heavyweight, bros.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Their squad is quite young, isn't it? And I was listening to Rory Sloane talk about these guys on one of the footy shows, and he said he reckons they're kind of overachieving because of their age profile. They're actually quite young. It's pretty exciting. Look, for Fremantle sports, they know a lot more than us in terms of how they're going and their age profile. And I think, yeah, when you pull out those sort of stats, Aaron, they're going to be around for the next 4 or 5 years, at least, really. And they got some absolute A-graders in their side too. Bolton, Brayshaw, Jackson, Tracy. Young, injured, but he's an A triple plus player. They've got some. They're littered with some stock all over the field, but we're still yet to be convinced on. Hopefully tonight, they'll change our mind on them.
A lot of love on the text line for the Dockers as well. So one listener says, I think that Hayden Young's value is sometimes overstated, and most of the season they've been okay without him, so they should be okay tonight. And another listener says, Brogues, you're too negative about the Dockers and that they will win tonight. So
I'm happy to be wrong. I wouldn't say I'm negative. I just don't. Show me something. 10 out of 11, that's a great stat. And you can't do anything more than that, but I want to see him actually bury a football team.
Yeah, put them to the sword.
Put them to the sword and go, hey, we're a chance to win the flag this year.
You want to see a bit more ruthlessness about them?
Yeah, I want to see what Adelaide, Geelong, Brisbane do to teams, Western Bulldogs do to teams tonight. Like, come out, pump aside by 80 points and make a statement to say we are here. This is our flag this year.
Moments away from bounce down here at the Adelaide Oval, so let's check in with Braden Ingram after the coin toss. Braden, what's it like down at ground level?
Yeah, good conditions at this stage, Aaron. 13 degrees and barely a breeze. There is a chance we will get a shower a little bit later on in the game. Connor Rosie, he won the toss. He's kicking to the right, so that's the Riverbank end of the ground. For the benches, for the power, Joe Berry, Ollie Wines, Darcy Byrne-Jones and Will Lorenz will start on the interchange. And the sub will be Christian Moraes, while for Fremantle, Jager O'Meara is on the bench alongside Murphy Reid, Bailey Banfield and Isaiah Dudley. Nat Fyfe will start as the sub.
Luke Jackson straight into the middle alongside Sean Darcy. So there's the big body the Fremantle Dockers will need tonight. It's a low crowd, but a lot of emotion this week for Port Adelaide. They host Fremantle, who are looking to jump into the top 4 with a win. Here's Tom Wilson for Saturday Night Footy on ABC Sport.
So Luke Jackson's on Zach Butters. So in size, David versus Goliath. But two superstars of the game. Bounce in the middle of the ground, knocked down by Sweet. Jackson gathers and is immediately tackled by Butters, but he's been pinged. Although a free kick's going elsewhere to Sarong. So Sarong goes inside the forward 50 looking for Bolton. Sin gets a hand in there. Swakowski roves it, gets it to the big ruckman in Darcy. Dangerous ball up towards full forward. Clean bowls Amos. He keeps it in for the moment and is going to be tackled out over the boundary line by Zerk Thatcher. And we'll have a ball up in the left forward pocket for Fremantle. 30 seconds in, no score.
I love seeing Jackson as a genuine mid. Big, strong body, hunts it well, covers the ground well. Agility's good. Watch this space.
Butters remaining on Jackson. Forward 50 stoppage for the Dockers. Tossed in. Darcy down. Quick tackle late on Switkowski and we'll get a ball up 30 from home.
It's really defining the modern midfielder, isn't it, Tom? He's 6'8". playing as a midfielder. It's wild.
Sweet down, but straight to Bolton. Sharks it, snaps from 30 and goals. Fremantle on the board in the opening 50 seconds. The Dockers 1 straight 6. Port Adelaide yet to score. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport with a pair of showdown medalists, Scott Thompson and Dean Brogan.
Well, this is what we spoke about pre-game. So Jackson started as a mid. The ball goes to him at the first centre bounce. Sarong won the free kick, but all the guys we've touched on, when you talk A grade of Freo, Jackson, Sarong, quality finish then by Bolton. Fremantle could not have asked for a better start. Now, I know it's early in the piece, Dean, but
alarm bells
they
already.
Could not have started any
worse
better in the first 30 seconds of this game.
And for Port Adelaide, like that stoppage, there was no one on Bolton. There was daylight between him. Interesting start for Port Adelaide. Great start by Freo.
Freo have been asked to make a statement by Dean Brogan, and they've certainly done it in the opening minute. Back in the middle of the ground, Darcy v Sweet. Sweet knocks it down. Drew, who's got the job on Sarong, gathers handballs to Butters, who steps inside it. Swinging boot there by Brayshaw, unnoticed by the umpire. Goes inside the forward 50. Coming hard at the ball was Lukosius. Gathered by Rosie. Handballs to Georgiades at right half forward. Kicks to a dangerous spot. It's 3-on-1. Doing well there was Chapman for Fremantle, and he finds Frederick in the right back pocket.
Local boy in game 99 tonight. Spoke during the week about how excited he is to play in front of the Power faithful, given he was a Port supporter. Kicks out towards the eastern wing, straight to Aaliyah. 3-on-3, but he was too good with the contested grab. He's just forward of centre wing in front of the Bashir stand. Aaliyah drives it back where it came from. Left forward pocket. Fremantle have the numbers. And Pearce keeps his opponent out of the drop. Darcy takes the intercept mark for Fremantle. Kick smothered though. Pressure's on. Richards pops it out. Snap 20 from home from Whitlock. And he misses to the right. Would have had his first goal in footy. Instead, a minor score and Fremantle lead by 5.
Not going to get many better opportunities than that. A great smother. Gathered his own ball. Couldn't find the finish. So Fremantle leading by 5 points, courtesy of that first goal to Bolton. Kick in goes to Chapman in the left back pocket. Port Adelaide well set up here, so Chapman's going to bomb it long down the line. Just forward of centre wing, the two big men, Jackson and Darcy, actually spoil each other. Gaddled by Liddy. His handball went astray, but Rosie was able to wrap up his opponent pretty quick. That was Sarong, and we'll have a ball up right half forward for Port Adelaide.
Quick reset. Sweet down. Looking for Butters, bowled over by Brayshaw. Jackson gets the handball out. Sarong an underground one. Little 1-2 with Erasmus, but kicks it straight towards Sweet, 5 metres. Has to hand it off to Liddy. Port Adelaide now with a high ball inside 50. It'll sit just short of the arc. Wagner took it on the line. They're going to pay him the mark. So Warner has it left half back. Bright pink boots. Heads towards the defensive edge. Port Adelaide scouted it. Drew floated across, impacted the marking attempt, but there's a free kick. Luke Jackson against Zach Butters. Sends it up towards the centre square. Bolton, good body work as he pushes off Butters to take the mark. Now calling for options. Leading target coming out of the goal square was Amos. Frederick popped in front, couldn't take it. Switkowski clean at ground level, handed it to Brayshaw, but buffeted away by Butters. Port have the numbers. Mead gets it to Drew, who's dancing and dodging in traffic and turns it over. Kick straight to Warner at the centre circle.
And it's going to be a 50-metre penalty.
Wow, that's harsh.
Very harsh there. McEntee on the mark. I think he was just resetting, Tomo.
Or was it Richards? Getting into the zone.
So McEntee's there on the mark.
I don't know about that. That's ridiculous.
Way too severe. But one thing there, when Port win the ball at half-back, their forwards were really high, which is fine. But when they win it, they have to go hard back to goal. Port Adelaide had nowhere to go off half-back then.
Too many players in that defensive 50. That was the Drew kick across the ground that went to Warner. And then the 50-metre penalty takes him much closer. Big opportunity for Carl Warner to kick his first goal in footy, but kicked it away to the right, so a minor score. Fremantle 1-1-7, Port Adelaide the one behind. Almost 6 minutes gone in the first quarter for ABC Sport.
0437 774 774 is the text line if you do want to get in touch as well. Big night for the Dockers as they look to leapfrog the Lions, and they'll finish the round in fourth if they get the job done. Farrell with a short pass to Butters. Uncharacteristically quiet last week, tagged to 10 touches, his lowest in 75 games. Kick is very shallow for Boak. 385 tonight. His third last game as he links up with Butters, turns through the defensive edge, kicks up to the eastern side, well placed. Pinpoint to Lukosius, far from home. Looks to wheel around, forward of the logo. It's a low, penetrating kick. Georgiades with a faint push on Cox. Couldn't take the mark. Clark's at the back, wheels away from danger, places it towards Frederick. He's in the right back pocket, the former Woodville West Torrens product. Kick is treacherous, central in the defensive 50 to Sarong. Georgiades back with the flight, brought it down, and a quick tackle's laid. And we'll get a ball up inside 50 for Port.
It was pretty gutsy by Georgiades. He read the cue and ran back with the flight of the ball. And almost took a great mark. It was really good defensive pressure by the big forward.
Sweet knocked it down. Lukosius went to gather, but he's tackled immediately there by Sarong. And we'll have another ball up 30 metres out from the power goal. Lenny Gustus chucks it up. Sweet knocks it down again. Rioli and Rosie, they clash. Sarong was clean. That was brilliant to Jackson. Got it off to Erasmus. He went backwards to Geordie Clark. Chucks it on his left boot at left half back. Liddy was brave with the flight of the ball. And O'Driscoll, that was tough contest. It was Tracy, in fact. That was brilliant from Liddy. Didn't think twice about that contest, managed to hold it in. We'll have a ball up at right half forward.
Brilliant play. It's what you want to see from your young rookies, especially. They're fighting for their football life, and to go back like that, it's brilliant.
Holding free kick in the right contest. Darcy infringed on Jordan Sweet. Port have it just behind right half forward. Currently trailing by 6. Sweet sets it up to the goal square. 2-on-2. Fist came in from Ryan, and it rolls through on the right-hand side for a minor score. Freo by 5 points. 7 minutes into the opening term. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport. Over at the Docklands, Gold Coast lead Carlton by 15 points. And that's early in the second term.
Luke Ryan plays on from the kick in. Up towards the corner of the centre square. Sweet knocks it down. Rioli kicks inside the forward 50. More to space. Right half forward flank and the right forward pocket. The umpire says we can throw that in. Just went out over the boundary line in front of Jed McEntee for the power.
They've just steadied the last 2 minutes, Port Adelaide. Good forward half pressure by Georgiades. An outstanding effort by Liddy on the half forward line just a moment ago, just to get the game back on their terms a little.
Deep inside their forward 50. Sweet knocks it down. Wines was clever, knocked it to space. Whitlock trying to gather. Gets it off to Georgiades. He tries to get through the traffic, but he was stripped by Brendan Cox. Out towards left half forward for Port Adelaide. Aaliyah works with Boak. All the way back to the skipper and Rosie. Gets past Frederick for the moment. Shrugs him off the tackle. His kick was partially smothered though. Good pressure here from Fremantle. They're forcing Port Adelaide backwards. And the handball from Rosie out towards Aaliyah and out over the boundary line. We'll have a throw in. Just defensive side of the left forward pocket for Port. They trail by 5 points.
Hot in the kitchen on a cold night in Adelaide. Fremantle know what's at stake. Starting to lift after being a bit laconic following Shea Bolton's first goal. Tossed in. Sweet front position wins it down. Looking for Drew. Bounces towards the boundary line. Amira's there. Picked it up. Tried to flirt with that pain and got it the wrong side. Kicks out on the full. Free kick to Port Adelaide. True centre wing in front of the Bashir stand.
Probably have more time on Amira then, just to take an extra step.
Travis spoke with the footy, which is why you're hearing the cheers. Short pass towards Darcy Byrne-Jones, and he'll look for the switch. He gives up some ground up towards centre half back. Zirk Thatcher takes the mark. Steps off his line and Bolton tries to close. Doesn't impact the kick. Shares it with Aaliyah at the defensive edge on the broadcast side. Short down the line to Mead. Some methodical movement from Port here. Trailing by 5. Mead's kick is very heavy for Richards, who has to turn and track. Tidwell to volley it right on the boundary line. Kept it in play. O'Driscoll battling with Wines, and O'Driscoll was hungrier. Forced the footy into his advantage. Diving handball, and then rips it away from Port Adelaide again. Shovels it out towards Ryan at right half forward. Tries to give it off towards Warner. Whitlock trying to sell that maybe he was impeded by Ryan as Fremantle get away with it. Warner up towards Jackson, and now O'Meara just working in traffic made it look pretty easy as he dishes it off towards Jackson in front of the benches.
I'll tell you what, Jackson started pretty well. What he's doing is he's getting to the wings for an outlet kick, and he's got a small midfielder on him, so they are looking for him every time they look to exit Fremantle.
Port are trying something tonight. Ollie Lord playing deep in defence on Jai Amos, so one to watch out throughout the evening. Burn Jones over the back of the pack. Trying to gather was Mead, under pressure from Isaiah Dudley, who's on the bottom of the pack. And we'll have a ball up at left half forward for Fremantle.
It's a good call by you. I didn't see that at all, but why not throw the magnets around, see what he can do down back, and see, well, maybe we might have a backman for next season.
Pulled out of the ruck, Darcy. Chucked it on the left boot, and it landed on Jackson's lap. Not 15, says the umpire. Swung by the full 360 tackle of Boat. Working hard there was that man Lord. On his hands and knees, working it by hand. Port Adelaide to Mead. His handball went backwards, and it went to Bolton, who smashes it through. Almost hit the TV screen in the background. He's kicked it so far to the northern end of the ground. He's got two, Bolton, already. Something from nothing. Fremantle 2-1-13. Port Adelaide 2 behinds. 12 minutes gone first term.
Great effort by O'Driscoll on the back half here. But when we're going forward, Bros, you touched on Jackson. He started brilliantly. He's up to 6 disposals now. We saw him go forward, then nearly have a look on goal, end up releasing the handball. But now you talk about their prime ball movements. Shea Bolton up to 2 goals, or kicked their whole score basically now, has started unbelievably well.
If you Mead, his last couple of touches haven't been great. He misses an uncontested, kick. Kicks it 5 metres over Richard's head, which caused the turnover, and then down there he gets tackled and just coughs it up towards his own goal, which is a cardinal rule to not do in your back 50. And he's had a bit of an off year this year. Mead, he had a really good year last year, and I reckon he's gone a little bit backwards in his development this year.
The unicorn Luke Jackson now in the ruck, but beaten by Whitlock, second gamer, given a crack in the middle. Tapped it towards Sarong though, a helicopter kick up towards half forward. Dudley was tracking it, very high launch from Mead, a bit of high jump. Did well to bring it down to Burn Jones and then gets the footy back. Mead towards Sin. Here they are, full stride. Port Adelaide surging through the middle. Kick towards Georgiades. Bowled over by Cox and lost his boot in the process. Now Banfield on the broadcast wing for the Dockers. Flares it inboard. Good kick. Straight to Switkowski on the logo. He wants to go. Again. Steps inboard. Straight to Bolton. The X Factor, who started with a surge. And he blasts it from 40. Misses to the right.
Oh, they got very lucky there. Bolton is absolutely causing all sorts of headaches for Port Adelaide. But the way that kick, to bring it 45-degree angle kick back in the middle, that's what Freo need to do more of, and that's what they can do, and they get good looks. And Bolton, geez, if he had his time again, I don't reckon he'd miss.
Could have been 3 in the first 10 minutes here at Adelaide Oval for Bolton. Aaliyah brings it out of defence. Jackson gets 2 hands on it, but it was touched in that contest. They're going to pay the mark. The power player definitely touched that in between his 2 bites of the cherry.
But you see his matchup, it's Ollie Wines at the moment. So, it's very smart by Fremantle using him as a midfielder, because he gets to these outlets and no one can go with him.
7th touch for Jackson, up towards Tracy, who flew. Roving was Murphy Reid with the headband. Gets a handball back to Tracy. Good tackle from Lorenz. Got the handball away in time. Erasmus to O'Meara to Jackson. Up towards the goal square, and Warner was running the other way. Did he play on? No, he marked. 20 metres out in a slight angle.
That was a beautiful kick, and Warner take 2 here. But we're banging on about Jackson now. Let's say, hypothetical, what do Freo do if he gets injured? He's gone mid, he's gone ruck, he's gone forward. He's absolutely dominating. He's up to 8 disposals already.
Yeah, you can't replace someone like that. But he is playing unbelievable at the moment. They don't have an answer for him anywhere.
The ultimate utility, Warner for take 2 for his first goal in footy. And he's pulled it away to the left. Overcorrection, I should say.
Get out of your own head, young fella.
1 to the right, 1 to the left. Fremantle 2-3-15, Port Adelaide 2 behinds. Freo lead by 13 points halfway through this first quarter for ABC Sport.
So he's missed 2 set shots now, Carl Warner. He's had 5 behinds in his career and yet to kick a goal. Port move it out towards the eastern side. Boat couldn't gather. Rioli becomes the tackler, drives Warner forward. Ball pops out. Lukosius got it to Drew. Nice chain here for the power. Winds to Boak. He's set upon, but broke free. Got it to Drew. Centering kick, and Lorenz takes the mark. 40 from home, slight angle to the right. Travis Boak at 37. Take a bow.
He started all right, Pokey. He's the highest possession get for Port Adelaide. He's got 6 possessions. He's had a couple of tackles. He's going at 100%. Not bad for 37 or 36.
37.
37.
We touched on it on the local show this morning, but when he plays, he's been terrific. It's just the consistency, and that's why he said during the week he's retiring, because his body just doesn't recover the way it used to. Will Lorenz, meanwhile, starts in the centre square. He'll lean back from 50. It's an awful kick. Well left and shallow. They come out to meet it. Georgiades couldn't take the mark. Berry, quick tackle on Warner, and we'll get a ball up left forward pocket for Port, who trailed by 13 in the first term.
That wasn't a convincing run-up, was it? Or is it just my eyes?
Wasn't. He's actually been an okay kick for goal this year when he's had his opportunity. Jackson now in the ruck, knocks it down to O'Meara, who gets the clearance, but Port Adelaide have the numbers through Zirk Thatcher. He marks it left half forward. Can't work out what he wants to do, so he's going to go long inside the 50 towards the forward pocket. Flying in that was Cox. Thought he had enough of it. Goes to ground. Banfield, he's knocked that straight out over the boundary line, right in front of the umpire. Wow. Don't get much more blatant than that. So McEntee's going to have a set shot in the left forward pocket right up against the fence. It's going to take a good effort from 30 metres out.
Players don't normally have set shot drop punts from here, Tomo. Looks like he's going to use that.
So McEntee with the drop punt from the pocket. The goal umpire getting in position just away to the right-hand side. Another minor score for Port Adelaide. They go to 3 behinds. Fremantle 2-3-15.
I like that he backed himself in there. From the opposite pocket in the showdown, he slotted one after the siren at quarter time from memory.
Must have been their only goal for the night, Tomo.
Just about.
Is that why you remember it?
Yeah.
Freo by 12. Brennan Cox heaves it all the way to the broadcast wing. There's a pack waiting for it. Murphy Reid tries to break through, but he's caught in a sandwich, and we'll get a ball up. A lot of discussion about Dan Curtin surging towards a rising star favouritism, and Levi Ashcroft around the mark. He had a tremendous game today against Sydney. Murphy Reid's another smoky.
Yep.
And a couple of really good games, including the last time they played Port. He had 4 goals. Breaking out of the stoppage, Butters had so much momentum he lost his footing. Shot a handball towards McEntee, and he missed his target running by in Berry. Liddy keeps fighting, as does McEntee. He's made amends. Rips it away from Sarong. Turns it centre half forward. High ball. Banfield put himself in a really tough spot, and courageous to wait for it. It was Erasmus in the end who's taken the intercept mark, and he moves towards the right back pocket to O'Driscoll. So Freo have the footy after Port Adelaide just kept fighting to get it inside. The Dockers by 2 goals.
Kicks up towards the wing. Aaliyah gets a fist away. Wines there too. Almost pushed in the back by Voss. Good hands there from Sin to Liddy. Up towards the forward 50. Playing from behind was McEntee. Gives away the free kick. Warner takes the advantage. Handballs over the top to Switkowski, running through the middle of the ground to Jackson. He's just everywhere. Kicks long inside the forward 50 to Tracy, who runs into an open goal and belts it through. Great transition play from the Dockers. They go to 3-3-21. Port Adelaide are 3 behinds. That's an 18-point margin. 19 minutes gone.
That is right there, the difference between these two sides. Port Adelaide have done a lot of the attacking, but their forward entries look rushed, and they're just hack kicks that don't give their forwards advantage on that ball. Freo win it. Sharp play through the middle of the ground. Tracy out the back. It was like a training drill. The ability just to break through Port Adelaide's defence, whereas everything from Port, as much as they've had the ball and played in their front half for a period, it looks forced and hard.
Yeah, well, they've had 10 inside 50s to Fremantle 7, but like you said, they're dump kicks inside 50. If you're going to let a team have more inside 50s than you, they're the ones you want to concede. It's just dump kicks where you actually can mark the footy and win it back and go really quick, and that's what Fremantle did on that occasion. And Luke Jackson is absolutely tearing Port Adelaide apart. I'm not sure with your coach stuff what you actually do with that, because he's a midfielder in the ruck, on the wing, forward, midfield. Like, I'm not sure what the answer is.
The Dockers by 18. Darcy down to Brayshaw, tracking it out to the eastern side. Rosie closes, bowls him over, but he got a kick away to O'Driscoll. Marks behind the logo, chips it up towards O'Meara. It was tight. He slid across the boundary line as he marked it. They're going to give it to him. 11th game this season for the former Sun. Wants to play in a winning final, as he featured with the Hawks in a losing quali. Up towards the 50s, targeting Voss, and off hands it rolls over the boundary line. What a story for Luke Jackson, though. So, premiership player at Melbourne, arrives at Fremantle, has a really slow start to the point where On the front page of the paper, they say he's getting paid $1 million per disposal. Got absolutely roasted by
They're ruthless
the locals
over there in Port Perth, aren't they?
And now they can't let him go. There was talk that maybe he'll go back to the Demons, but he's played so well this season. Fremantle have said no dice. Out of the stoppage, tossed in.
Yeah.
Brayshaw an up and under kick. Frederick came out towards the mark and was pushed, almost tunnelled, and receives the free kick straight in front, 45 from home.
Well, the concerning thing for Port Adelaide right now is it's 10. They're -6 in clearances and they're -12 in contested possession already. And there's some alarming stats for, we've still got 6 minutes to go in the first quarter, but that is starting to get danger zone, Tomo.
Yeah, it could get ugly quickly, especially if Frederick kicks this goal.
26-18 for the year for Michael Frederick, closing in on a career best. He gives this absolutely everything from 50. Michael Frederick, what a strike! Straight and true. Fremantle with 4 unanswered in the opening 21 minutes. 4-3-27, Port 3 behinds. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport with Premiership ruckman Dean Brogan and All-Australian midfielder Scott Thompson.
Yeah, some alarm bells going off if you're in the Port Adelaide coach's box. And yeah, they've had a little bit of a crack, but the last sort of 6 or 7 minutes, Fremantle have just gone whack. And, the numbers are starting to look pretty hairy for Port Adelaide. And, guys like Jackson, Sarong, Warner, Amira, all starting to get their hands on the footy. Bolton's kick 2 looked dangerous. And Travis Boak, the 37-year-old, has had the most possessions for Port Adelaide. Now, how is that possible in a team that's got Butters, Rosie and players like that, and Boakie's still the highest possession winner for them?
Well, the challenge is everything Port do is under pressure, whereas Freo in offence, it's just the gates open and off they go.
Back in the middle of the ground, Darcy clean run at it. But he hit it straight to Wines, who turned it straight over to O'Meara. Handballs to Bolton, to Switkowski, who handballs over the top to Dudley. Flying shot from 35 metres out, just away to the left.
That was training.
Well, I was just about to say, Tommy, that you just called it. That was an absolute training drill. And if you're Port Adelaide, you've got to show something. You've got to tighten up these last 5 minutes, because you do not want to go down at quarter time by 30-plus points, because it could be a long night from there.
Out of the defensive goal square, Farrell sends it to left half back. Lord, playing in defence tonight, takes the mark. 25 points Fremantle lead. Port Adelaide goalless. Time on in the first. Short pass back to Farrell. And then chips it straight towards Wines. Now Farrell accelerates. Receives the footy. Up the spine he goes towards Butters, who waited for the footy. O'Meara committed early. Infringed. Butters will have it just behind half forward. Crowd not happy about O'Meara overstepping. Won't matter. Butters slices it with a low ball towards the 50. Rosie may have caught a stray hand. Diving in Erasmus, pops the handball out. Bolton turns and goes. Now Reid backtracks a little bit. Left half back here for Banfield. Treacherous kick out on the full. Straight towards his teammates sitting on the bench. So he saw someone in white, just the wrong player. Free kick Port Adelaide. True centre wing on the broadcast side.
So they trail by 25.
Oh, the horrible
That's
kick.
a horrible kick. There's 4 Freo players there. The one Port Adelaide player, Berry, did extremely well.
Didn't he?
To bring it to ground and hold the ball in, so we'll have a ball up in the centre square.
Sure, what
Absolutely
Sid
safe.
saw there. Look, the ball's never on. Just kick it long down the line. Play the percentages back into quarter.
Darcy knocks it down. Switkowski running through the middle of the ground again. His kick forward was a chaos ball. Dropped mark by Zirk Thatcher. Tracy did well to pick it up. Reid got it. But great work from Sin on a second effort. Gets a holding the ball call at centre half back for the Power. Fremantle 4-4-28. Port are 3 behinds. We're 24 and a half minutes gone in the first term.
The Suns by 17 over the Blues, close to half-time at Docklands. You can hear it on the ABC Listen app through the AFL button. Liddy at left half back. Short kick towards Butters. Gee, that was a low, dicey one. Rolled just towards Boak, and now he's fighting with Ryan for possession. Dumped without the footy. Play continues. Berry nudged it towards Liddy. And now Drew, looping handball to Rioli. Turns it left half forward for Port. Spots Georgiades. Brandon Cox, unmovable. Front position, knocked it down. Tight angle, almost impossible. And Joe Richards had a crack and misses to the right-hand side. Gee, he was off balance. He nearly fell into the front row. That would have been remarkable. And Port is still goalless. 4 behinds. Fremantle 4-4-28. Still 3 to go in the first term.
Luke Ryan brings it in. So Alex Pearce, the skipper. He's at left half back. Still plenty of time in the quarter. 25 minutes gone. Generally running 30 minutes this season. Switches it back to Ryan. Goes all the way to right half back to Cox. Just taking his time. No one really standing the mark, so he hasn't moved, and now he plays on. Kicks down the wing, outer side of the ground. One-on-one contest. Voss pushed his opponent Lord out of it. No free kick. Dudley and Voss, but good tackle from behind Drew. And ensures that Voss gets that out over the boundary line. Right half forward for Fremantle, who lead it by 24 points.
What I have liked about Freo, in just recently, they've shown the ability to go fast when it opens up, but also just have that composure piece moving forward when Port Adelaide are well set defensively. They've just added another bit to their game.
The voice of Scott Thompson there as part of Saturday Night Footy on ABC Sport. Great to have you with us. Darcy with the fist down towards Reid. The barge through Sweet, got it back to his ruckman, and then the youngster Murphy Reid does his best to screw it towards Brayshaw, just a little heavy. And Farrell takes it inside defensive 50 for Port. And don't look like they're full of hope tonight, the Power. Farrell with a short pass back to Zerk Thatcher. And a dinky kick up to Burn-Jones. No urgency really to move the ball forward. Finally Burn-Jones out to the eastern side. Spots Liddy. Marks near Erasmus. Darcy will stand the mark as Liddy tries to move it to Sweet. Erasmus will close on him. Cox came the other way, used the body, and Sweet didn't commit to the footy. Jackson gathers, hands it to Cox. The Unicorn gets it back. Jackson with a sweeping handball to Dudley. Now out wide to Brayshaw. It's all too easy, and it's slick from the Dockers. Up to right half forward. Reid chips it over the top to Voss. Tries to break through Burn-Jones and drop the footy in the process. Just a little casual there from Fremantle. Free kick to Port Adelaide at left half back.
Well, they had options everywhere. They weren't sure what to do with it. In the end, they stuffed it up. But, yeah, it's a little bit too easy for Fremantle at the moment.
So Butters through the middle of the ground from the free kick. Gets it to Georgiades, who played on. He tried to get away from Cox, who almost pulled his pants down. Handball back to Drew. Regathered Georgiades, and he was immediately tackled. Oh, that's a shocking call. He was immediately tackled. He's been kicked for holding the ball. You can hear the crowd. Not sure what you got to do.
Oh, did he bypass the first one and then take on the second?
So if he pushes someone off, that gives away your...
Well, I mean, I don't know what the holding the ball rule is, so I can't comment.
Does anyone? I'm going to go with the umpire on this one. I think that he did try to get through a couple. Down the line, Ollie Lord tried for a hanger, just couldn't quite get over the top of the pack. Out the back door, Tracy looks for a central handball to Amira, picked off by Burn-Jones, but he gave it straight back. Tracy fumbling and bumbling, brought down without it. Umpire's happy to let it go because Fremantle are breaking away. Clark got it out wide. Brayshaw spots a target left half forward. Frederick now on the arc. Darts around, accelerates, sets it up. Bolton flies, knocked away. Ground level Sin hands it towards Lorenz, and Zerk Thatcher just panics. Check side exit straight back to Frederick. He bounces off Rioli with ease. Zero pressure and a placing pass up towards Reid. 25 out, left forward pocket. That is a dismal display from Willie Rioli.
They're just panicking a little bit, aren't they? The dump kicks, not only in their inside 50, but when they got ball in hand in their back 50, they're just dump kicking it out. Doesn't seem to be much of a system, and Fremantle, they should be up by a lot more, to be honest with you. They've missed a couple of sodas, and they've got another shot here.
Murphy Reid, this young rising star, opens, snaps, but just a little bit too much curl. Through for a minor score on the left-hand side. Fremantle by 25 once again, closing in on quarter time. Braden Ingram downstairs on ABC Sport.
Just a lot of hands on hips for the Power. They just look like they're lacking of energy at the moment. In terms of that matchup, Ollie Lord is on Patrick Voss. He just looks a little bit lost at times, certainly finding a fair bit of distance between the two players at the moment as he's tried in defence.
So Braden Ingram on the boundary there as the siren goes. Fremantle totally dominant in the first quarter at Adelaide Oval. They're 4-5-29. No goals for the Power, just the four behinds. The goal kickers, well, Shea Bolton, I should say, kicked the first two goals of the game. Probably could have had a third there. Warner missed two shots he probably should have had and got his first goals in footy. But Tracy and Frederick rounded out those goal kickers. in a dominant display, as I said, from the Dockers.
Could be a long night for the locals, but for those listening out west, it's certainly going to be an exciting one. Fremantle win, and they're in the top 4 after Brisbane lost earlier today. Stephen's actually on a bus in Argentina, north of Patagonia. Has left a gold mine, says a purple win would be better than gold. Thank you for your coverage, and thanks for being with us, Stephen. That's a pretty massive stretch between Australia and Argentina, so great to have you as part of the call, and I'm sure you are enjoying how the Dockers are performing right now as well. Dan from Perth says Bailey Banfield has a high footy IQ and is an elite ball user. I think he's underrated by general footy fans and even Dockers fans, so he's been all right early, couple of touches.
Thanks for ringing in, Dad.
Dan Banfield? No, that's a nice text, 0437 774 774. Do get in touch with us across the night. Fremantle by 25. Over at the Docklands, the Suns lead the Blues by 24, closing in on half-time, 8-7-55 to Carlton's 5-1-33. And you can hear it all through the AFL button on the ABC Listen app. The second term coming up next on ABC Radio, Sport Digital and the ABC Listen app.
There are 3 warning levels across Australia: advice, watch and act, and emergency. To learn more, go to the ABC Emergency website and stay listening to your emergency broadcaster, ABC Radio.
This is the 2025 AFL Premiership season on ABC Sport.
Sweet down, but straight to Bolton. Sharks it, snaps from 30 and goals. Fremantle on the board in the opening 50 seconds.
Working hard there was that man Lord, on his hands and knees, working it by hand. Port Adelaide to Mead, his hairball went backwards and it went to Bolton, who smashes it through. To Switkowski running through the middle of the ground to Jackson, he's just everywhere. Kicks long inside the forward 50 to Tracy, who runs into an open goal and belts it through. Great transition play from the Dockers.
Yeah, it could get ugly quickly, especially if Frederick kicks this goal.
26-18 for the year for Michael Frederick, closing in on a career best. He gives this absolutely everything from 50. Michael Frederick, what a strike! Straight and true. Fremantle with 4 unanswered in the opening 21 minutes.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the AFL.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
A Docker demolition early. It's living up to how many anticipated it would go. Port Adelaide in a very poor run of form, and Fremantle have won 10 of their last 11. They get the job done tonight, and they're inside the top 4. So the world is their oyster. Their season's in their hands with the Lions and the Dogs to come over the next fortnight. So they've come out ready to fire. They're up 25 at the first change, with Port Adelaide goalless for the first time against the Dockers since 2008. And the second time this season that they've been goalless in an opening quarter. Aaron Bryans and Tom Wilson calling the action. You can get in touch with us on the text line 0437 774 774. Willem Pinaroo says, I think Willie Rioli's past it. He has been out of the side for the last couple of weeks playing in the Sandful due to some personal reasons and a foot issue as well, but got bounced off easily by Michael Frederick at the back end of that quarter. Just a little bit too easy in terms of his strength there. Hopefully he can bounce back in this second term. Your experts to break down that opening quarter. Both showdown medalists. One's a premiership player, the other's an All-Australian. Scott Thompson and Dean Brogan on ABC Sport.
Yeah, look, the game's gone pretty much how we thought it would go. I mean, Fremantle started off really well. Port were fought back a little bit, had some inside 50s, albeit they were dump kicks inside 50, don't help anybody. But the time was in their forward half. But then all of a sudden, when Fremantle got through, they kicked a couple of easy goals, and you look up and they're down by 3 or 4 goals. And to be really fair, like Fremantle probably missed 3 sodas, 2 set shots. Bolton runs in, misses from 30. Like, they kick them, the game's over already. And I just feel for Port Adelaide, it looks a little bit lifeless to me. There's some real concerns here that this could be a massive score against again tonight, and alarm bells going off everywhere. They're -9 in clearances, they're -11 in contested possession, they're -8 in ground ball gets, and the big stat for me at the moment, Tomo, is that Fremantle are almost plus 500 metres in metres gained. So when they get the footy, Freo, they are going forward at a rate of knots.
Yeah.
That's a really high number for 1 quarter of football.
Yeah. Yeah, you mentioned their offensive chain looks really easy compared to Port Adelaide. So Port have actually gone, Freo have only gone inside 51 more time, where Port had a number of balls that came in and out. So they had some front half turnovers where they went back in, and as you mentioned, just dump kicks. So everything Port looks like they're doing, whether it's because of Freo's good pressure on the ball, is forced and rushed going inside their forward 50, where on the flip side, when Freo win it, their offensive shape on the field allows them to carve through Port Adelaide's defence far too easily. So when they go forward with the ball, they're able to go forward uncontested at times. They're cutting the angles and getting a really good look on goal. And as you mentioned, they've missed some easy ones, so it could be a 6-7 goal margin now. So the scoreboard is actually flattering Port Adelaide to this point.
They've had 9 shots on goal. So over the course of 4 quarters, they're on target to kick 40 shots on goal. Like it's been the story for Adelaide. They just can't defend. But full credit to Freo. They're looking like they're in a mood tonight to put Port to the sword, and they are realising they are in this AFL competition to win the flag right up to their neck in it.
What I have liked, if we touched on Jackson, he's dominating, but their other prime ball movers, Sarong's been handy with 7 disposals, Bolton's had 6 and kicked 2 goals, but that other big-bodied mid in O'Meara's had an impact in that first quarter as well.
I'm amazed it took them so long to inject O'Meara into the mix, because, yeah, he's looked awesome, and as much as they love Hayden Young out there because he's an elite ball user, their midfield mix is working well with a big body, whether it's Jackson or O'Meara. Fremantle by 25, second term underway on ABC Sport. Jackson doing the ruck work, wings it down, but Butters is there on the bounce. As he heads towards the eastern side, drives it inside 50. Georgiades late with the saw, but Pearce had glue on his hands.
That was a gutsy mark.
Just wouldn't let the footy go. Georgiades with the fly over the top, couldn't wrench it away, and the Freo skipper has it in the defensive 50. Sends it back towards the eastern wing. Speaking of flyers, Lord rose up in the hole. Takes the uncontested mark, releases Butters. That was a very poor kick by his standards as he tried to squeeze a little 5-metre chip and was wide of Lukosius and rolls over the line.
I'm just not sure that handball's on. It's a rush handball to Butters, still under pressure, to a short 50-50 ball. They get nothing out of it.
He called for it though, Zach Butters, so as a senior leader they may be making a bad decision.
Boundary throw in. Clearance to Port Adelaide, to Berry, to Butters. Looked like he was taken high there by Amos, who's worked his way all the way back into Port's defensive end, and Butters has the ball, and it's going to be a holding the ball call there. Amos grabbed it and Butters held it in. Perhaps some payback for earlier. Just watching the replay, Amos did drag that one in. He's been pinged, rightfully so. So Butters will have a shot 45 metres out and a 45-degree angle.
Amos ends up on top of him with the ball in hand, still holding the ball. It's got me buggered. I don't know what the rule is.
Yeah, so we had 2 sort of different interpretations, haven't we, in the last sort of 5 minutes of playtime. But Zach Butters, who rarely kicks goals, which is interesting.
Kicked 1 for the season. That's an incredible stat for such a great player. He just doesn't hit the scoreboard enough.
Gets an opportunity to put Port Adelaide on the board. Butters steps inside the forward 50, unleashes from 45. He's going to have the journey. Just drifted away to the left as he went for that little bit extra distance. Minus score to start the second quarter for Port Adelaide. They go to 5 straight behind Fremantle, 4-5-29.
Those flags are limp. Butters is normally a beautiful kick of the footy. He struggled to make the distance then.
Yep.
1-5 for the year now. Luke Ryan heaves it. That's a monster kick straight up the middle, and Aaliyah was waiting in the square. Wide kick to Farrell. Stepped off his line, had to rush one to Butters. He'll hand it off. Running by was Mead. Up to the goal square he goes, and Ryan had eyes for it early. Got himself in front, cuts it off for Fremantle.
Even that one there, Butters handballs to Mead, who's a right footer, and forced him onto his left. Again, just another dump kick inside 50. Their system moving the ball to inside 50 is just non-existent.
Chapman goes over the top to Ryan at right half back for the Dockers. Plays on quickly, flat ball looking for Tracy. Zerk Thatcher did well to get to the front and punches it out over the boundary line right in front of the interchange gates. Fremantle leading by 24 points. We've had 3 minutes gone in this second term for ABC Sport.
Half-time at Docklands, the Suns by 24 over Carlton at the moment. You can hear it on the ABC Listen app through the AFL button. Toss back into play. Sweet caught behind, Jackson won it down. Little volleyball tap on from Brayshaw. Driscoll with some fancy footwork as he weaves away from Wines on the left, up through the centre wing. Knocked away by a couple of bodies, and O'Meara can't keep it in against Butters. Another boundary throw in to come. Luke Jackson with 11 touches so far tonight. Zach Butters with 12, the best on ground. Top 4 on the line for the Dockers. If they lose, though, even though they're up 24 at the moment. They could find themselves in 8th by the end of the round. Tossed in, sweet down. Sarong there, hands it off to Jackson, turns through the logo, now Amira. Surges away and spots Bolton.
Too easy.
Bullet pass towards the Premiership Tiger, and he takes it 40 from home, slide angle to the right.
Yeah, that was really easy. That was concerning. That was a concerning stoppage. Not one Port player laid a finger on any Fremantle player, and yeah, good luck back stopping that when the ball's coming in like that.
Shea Bolton costs 2 first-round picks for Fremantle, but he's had a pretty good campaign. Crosses the paint of 50. Shea Bolton starts at left. It'll fall short as well. 3-on-3 there. Voss flies. Couldn't control it. Zerk Thatcher rolls the footy over, and it'll be a minor score for Fremantle. Back up by 25 points. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport. Braden Ingram downstairs.
We know Zach Butters is one of the chattier players on the field, and he's certainly going at Jager O'Meara. The two just sparring a few little chest taps, and I'm interested to see how that contest continues.
Farrell brings it in. Kicked it towards centre-half back in Aaliyah, who dropped the mark. So Docker's gathered through O'Meara to Jackson at centre-half forward. Waiting for his teammate in Sarong to run around and collect the handball, but he's pulled this away to the left. Another missed opportunity.
That was really smart by Jackson then. No, that stand rule, he just picked that apart beautifully and waited for the run to come from behind. He didn't actually turn around and face forward. He just waited for the run to come.
Again, lucky. That was running into an open goal. Who was that? Sarong. Well, they should be 7-8 goals in front, Fremantle.
Game high 26-point lead for the Dockers, but you're right, inaccurate, 4-7. Port still goalless early in this second quarter. Short pass in as Mead gives it to Darcy Byrne-Jones. He's in the left back pocket. The All-Australian defender finds another in Aaliyah. Had enough of the footy as he was battling with O'Driscoll. Swatted away late, but they'll give him the mark. Has Mead running by on the boundary line. They've been keen to release and go Port Adelaide, but their kicks have felt a little rushed, and this one was a bit directionless down the line. He's lucky that Whitlock got a hand on it as it carried over the boundary line. It'll be tossed in left half forward for the Power. 5 behinds for the night to Fremantle 4-7-31. It's been a rough month of footy for Port Adelaide. Historical lows under the Ken Hinkley regime. Tossed in, Sweet taps it down. Drew paddles it off to Liddy. Smart, the mid-season recruit, lowers the eyes and pops it towards Georgiades. He marks 40 from home. It's a tight angle to the left.
Great hands by Georgiades, who, to be fair, he's had a really good season in a team that struggles to score at times. He's had a fantastic year, and that's a great kick by Liddy. He's done some good things tonight, Liddy. He's shown a little bit, and to hit a kick like that shows he's got a little bit of class.
Best and fairest winner, Georgiades?
He'd be up there. He'd be in the top 2 or 3. Yep.
I think Butters.
Might have it, but he did miss 4 games at the start of the year.
Missed a few games, yeah.
Career best season for Mitch Georgiades, 51 goals. He had 3 on the Dockers earlier this season. Georgiades from 45, dead straight. Finally, the Port fans get something to roar about. It took 7 minutes into the second term, but they've finally kicked a goal, and the margin's down to 20 points. Port 1-5-11, Fremantle 4-7-31. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
You're right, absolutely spot on with Georgiades. He has been a shining light for Port Adelaide, not only in the front half, but as far as their list goes, really. Like, we talk weight of numbers with guys that have performed to a level this year. You could count on one hand from Port Adelaide who's contributed, and he sits right up at the top of the tree. Was that 52 goals now, I think, for the season, which is a personal best for him. Yeah. But what I love about him is every contest, he competes like his life depends on it. He throws himself at the aerial ball, he hunts it on the ground. When the opposition have it, he's at him with a ferocity, which Port lack in other areas on the ground. So he can certainly hold his head up high, and that was a beautiful finish just then.
Certainly stepped up that aspect of his game this season. And he'll certainly be there at the business end of the best and fairest. Back in the middle of the ground, Sweet knocks it down, a perfect tap to Butters, who takes a bounce, runs towards centre-half forward, chips it over just too much on Lukosius, probably ran underneath it. McEntee gathered up towards Georgiades. He brings it to ground, roved by Richards, goal by Richards. They've got back-to-back goals, the Power, and it gives the home fans something to cheer about. 2-5-17 Fremantle, 4-7-31. 8.5 minutes gone, second quarter.
Well, what a crafty little centre bounce. They did a bit of a rotation and Butters went flying through and got out, but then he made the most difficult decision. He just should have kept running straight, or at least pumped the ball inside 50, but he just tried to invent something a little bit tricky. Lukosius dropped the really an uncontested mark, but well mopped up, and there, scramble goal, but look, they're the ones you want. You want your centre bounce goals. They're cheap and nasty, and they're quick, and they get energy through the team. So a bit of life for Port Adelaide. Last 5 minutes been very good.
Love the movement and pattern from Butters out of the middle, and you're right about Lukosius. He has to, as a key forward, he has to swallow that. You don't get a better look as a key forward than an uncontested mark 35 metres out. Great contest from Georgiades to bring the ball to the ground, and quality finish.
So suddenly a 14-point game. Fremantle have been on top for the majority of the night. Port go bang, bang. Suddenly it's a close one. Out of the middle, Butters brought to ground, ball rolls out, tackle laid too high, and Will Lorenz will get the free kick against Sean Darski. So Lorenz on the logo, broadcast side. Just his 7th game this evening for the Power. Drives it low and hard.
Oh!
Out towards Georgiades, who took it clean, and Pearce shoved a hand in late and knocked it out. That's almost as clear 50 as
should have been 50. See, plenty worse than that. They get called.
Back 45 for Georgiades to Alir, and now Burne-Jones in the centre circle. So Porter having to chip it around as they look for an entry into the 50, and it should have been handed to them, really. Here comes the 50 for something off the ball.
Georgiades free kick. Or Willie Rowley, is it Georgiades?
In the hands of Butters when it was paid, and he'll be marched into the arc, and they are going to give it downfield to Mitch Georgiades. So we'll wait for a replay because this was far off the ball. Butters was in the centre square, and this happened inside 50, the incident. But Fremantle have given one away here, and Port could have 3 on the trot. Mitch Georgiades. Slight angle to the left. Man on the mark will be 25 out, but he's got a long run up to come. It's just outside the paint of 50. Has kicked a goal in 20 consecutive games now. Mitch Georgiades. To really get this crowd going. Leans back from 30. Port have 3 in a row. Georgiades with 2, and Fremantle's 26-point lead is down to just 8. The Dockers 4-7-31, Port 3-5-23, 11 minutes into the second term. Saturday footy on ABC Sport with Scott Thompson and Dean Brogan.
Well, all the areas in the first quarter, Brogues, that Port were getting an absolute touch-up in. Contested ball, ground ball gets, clearances. They are dominating at the moment, being led by your man Zach Butters, but in the front half, Georgiades now starting to have a real impact with his second goal.
If you're Freo, these misses, they can come back to hurt you. Instead of being up by 7 or 8 goals, it's only up by 4 or 5. Port kick a couple, and all of a sudden it's game on again. Got to kick your goals when you get an opportunity, especially on the road. And Port Adelaide, they're showing a bit of fight this quarter.
Is there a scoring end at Adelaide Oval now? All 7 goals have gone to the scoreboard end.
Same against Hawthorn Crows
Same against Hawthorn and Crows last week.
23-5 last Friday night.
So that makes it 30-5 in 5.5 quarters. Wines gets the free kick inside the forward 50. Flying was Lukosius. Roving was Rosie's. Handball was Shark though. Jackson goes again. Tries to force Liddy off, and McEntee got him the second time. Holding the ball. And there's some feeling finally out there. There's some push and shove. Something's happened at quarter time to fire up the Power. They're getting under the skin of the Dockers.
Well, this is the Port Adelaide you want to see. They are scrambling, fighting, scratching, doing schoolyard bully stuff that you want to see when a team that are down on numbers. This is what you can do. You can show energy, you can show fight. You might have some players that are not playing in the 22, but this is what you can show.
Jed McEntee for 4 in a row for the Power. You can hear the roar. You can hear the crowd. It's 4 goals apiece here at Adelaide Oval. The Power have found something in this second quarter. They're 4-5-29. The margin's just 2 points. Fremantle 4-7-31. 13 and a half minutes gone. Braden Ingram.
It was Heath Chapman who gave away that free kick that resulted in the Georgiades goal just before that. And then as soon as that holding the ball occurred, Luke Jackson was the one who was wrapped up, and it was Georgiades who got in his face that resulted in that scuffle.
Top four slipping out of the grasp of Fremantle. They were so hot early. It looked like game over in the space of 10 minutes. And suddenly we're right back in this.
Yeah, well, it's centre bounce and stoppage work for Port is allowing them to play a front half game, and their forwards are actually competing and putting serious pressure on the ball there and giving themselves a really good look on goal. So all of a sudden their offence looks far easier than it did in the first quarter.
Just energy and effort, enthusiasm. It does a lot for you.
2-point lead to Fremantle. Port with all the momentum, and Darcy tries to snap it. He takes it out of the ruck and hands it to O'Meara. Inside 50. Lord had a free flight at it and went for the fist. Now they're under pressure. Closing on Lorenz. O'Driscoll couldn't impact the disposal. A handball to Mead. Then Farrell. Good smother from Sarong coming the other way. Burst towards the 50. Unguarded goal square. Caleb Sarong gives it to the Power faithful.
He's a star.
Fremantle snap their dry run and get back on top. The Dockers by 8. 4-5-29 the Power. Fremantle 5-7-37. 14 played in the second term. Saturday footy on ABC Sport. Scott Thompson and Dean Brogan, your experts.
Well, Kane Farrell, he's a left-hander, and he went to handball that with his right hand running to the left-hand boundary. Now, the fundamental of that handball was poor, but Sarong just read him like a book, and turnover, and what a finish.
Beautiful finish.
45 out. He looked up to see if there was a forward. There was nothing there, so he had every right to have a shot, and he absolutely split the middle, and boy, did Fremantle need that.
But that's just the quality out of the middle there. O'Meara goes forward, and we see what playing a front half game in this game so far has allowed both teams. Like Port under the pressure coming out of their back half. Great intercept by Sarong, but then the ability and the quality to finish off the play.
So Whitlock was in that ruck contest, just the one ruck contest, and Sweet's back in there. So Darcy knocks that down. The man who kicked the goal, Sarong, gets the clearance, goes up towards centre half forward. Ball's in dispute. Drew goes in for the tackle. Working hard was Lorenz, gets a handball out to Mead. Handball's off to Wines. His handball was blocked by Switkowski, but he goes again to Drew, back towards Burne-Jones. They're under enormous pressure here, Port Adelaide. Lorenz was ragdolled there by Tracy, and he's feeling that. Goes back out over the boundary line. We'll have a throw in near the Power bench.
Oh, Fremantle have a bit of sense of urgency now. I reckon the runners come out and told them all to lift, because the last 5 minutes, there's a bit of sense of urgency about Fremantle.
The Dockers were up by 26. Now it's just 8. Tossed in, Sweet down. Set upon was Wines, caught in 2. Gave away the footy. Brayshaw, though, dumped by Rosie. Dropped it, holding the ball. Free kick to the skipper for the Power. And again, they want to go quick. He hands it to Lorenz, right by him. Tries to skid a kick through. Almost a tunnel ball that bounces off the shins of Banfield and over the boundary line.
Brayshaw's just one for Freo, was one of their leaders, and inside mid has been very quiet so far. Only the 4 possessions for the game.
Boundary throw in, left half forward for Port Adelaide. Really trying to get some speed on the ball, and it certainly worked so far in this term. Trailing by 8 points. Lorenz gathers, gets the handball over the top to Berry, off towards Drew. Good pressure from Brayshaw. Coming through was Rosie. Gets it to Berry, who's slung in the tackle. A high ball, goes the journey required. Rioli tried to rove, so did Berry. Goes out over the boundary line. We'll have a throw in 35 metres around from Port Adelaide's goal on left half forward flank. Braden Ingram.
Connor Rosie just keeps looking at that left hand. We know he fractured it a few weeks ago and he's continuing to play through the pain, but it is giving him some grief, that left hand, so it's one to continue to monitor throughout this game.
He said, "I'll keep playing until I physically can't anymore," Connor Rosie, but it's a dead season right now for the Power. Tossed in Whitlock in the ruck, tapped it straight to Rioli, rolls a kick up to the goal square. Lukosius one-on-one, battling there, trying to get past Chapman, shrugged him off, dummied, check side, Jack Lukosius! Where did that come from? The big man with some fancy footwork. 2-point game again. Fremantle 5-7-37. Port 5-5-35. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
Well, Jack Lukosius, that's how you compete. That was outstanding, mate. Brilliant. A bit of ground ball craft as well. And then from here, just the footy nous to, yeah, beautiful. Beautiful little balk, beautiful finish, mate. That's quality play by Jack Lukosius.
That's the top-end talent right there, Tomo. And he'll certainly adhere himself to the Power faithful with efforts like that. And Brogues, this is what the fans want to see. They know the season's gone. What they dished up in the first quarter would have left them feeling quite...
This is what we spoke pre-game about. We just haven't seen this level of energy and effort in any of their last month, really. And this is a superb quarter by them. They kicked 5 goals for the quarter, which is absolutely brilliant against a quality team against Fremantle. They're really into this game, which is great to see.
So from the clearance, Bolton got it forward. Ends up on the wing with Drew, though, who goes short to Boak. He's got some runners in. Butters. He runs to centre-half forward. Takes a bounce. Lowers the eyes, looking for his skipper. Rosie Marks sliding on his knees. 35 metres out directly in front. And if he kicks this, you wouldn't have believed it at quarter time. The Power will be in front.
Well, their willingness to play on at all costs. I know, Tomo, you said a couple of times, why they handball to the boundary, and it's a nothing sort of play, but it sends a bit of a message that they're going to play on at all costs, and no doubt that's how they're getting through Fremantle at the moment. They are playing with a sense of urgency, and speed of ball is through the roof at the moment.
Connor Rosie for a captain's goal. He slotted it, and the Power hit the front. 6-5-41, Fremantle 5-7-37. We're into time on in the second quarter for ABC Sport.
You're spot on, Brogues, when you talk about Port Adelaide's ball movement. That speed of ball is making Freo's defence really unsettled. They can't get the shape they want behind the ball purely by Port Adelaide's sharp hands off the back half there, but their ability to break the lines before Freo can get set defensively is making it really challenging for their back six. Zach Butters starting to have a real impact on the game too. He's up to 15 disposals, 5 inside 50s. Really starting to impact the game.
I'll tell you where it's won. They are plus 15 in contested ball right now, whereas they were minus 11 in the first quarter. So that is a 20 plus 27. Is that my maths right? I was never good at maths. Plus 26 turnaround. That is phenomenal. That is effort and the want.
We said it in the pre-game, but Fremantle don't like being bullied. They don't like contested ball. They don't like physicality. Port Adelaide have found an answer after being dominated in the opening quarter. Out of the middle, Jackson tries to shoot a handball to Sutkowski. Had his pocket picked by Farrell. Hands it off to Sweet. Tried to get it to Liddy, who wasn't looking. Sin was there with the assist, though. Port move it close to the boundary line, eastern side. Butters down the line looking for Rosie. Collected late by Clark. The skipper gets the free kick just forward of the logo. Port by 4 after trailing by 26 early in the second term. They were goalless in the first quarter, the Power. Rosie up to right half forward, 3-on-3. The pack collapses. Boak's all alone at the back. Boak from 45, kick smothered by a desperate Chapman. Trying to track it as Erasmus. Rioli's on the hunt. Just couldn't stick the tackle. The balls are scored over in front of the scoreboard.
Well, this is sort of the challenge for Freo, isn't it? This is what we touched on before the game. They don't put teams to the sword, and they're not consistent enough over 4 quarters to actually want to bury a side. They had all the play, and they've taken the foot off.
Now they trail by 4 points. Jackson from the throw-in knocks it down. Rioli's trying to rove it. Tried to shark the free.
Free kick.
He's paid it.
He has paid it. The other umpire. So he did go down, slung the head back, and he's going to have a shot 20 metres out. Is the umpire calling 50 here? They have.
Oh, wow.
So he's going to get walked to the goal line. Willie Rioli back into the side after a few weeks off. And he's going to feast here. Pumps it through. Willie Rioli, that's 3 on the bounce for the Power. They're 7th for the quarter. 7-5-47. They lead by 10 points over Fremantle. 5-7-37. 23 minutes gone second term.
Well, it's hard to make. What Fremantle, have they just completely capitulated, or are Port playing that well? It's hard to quantify what's actually going on here. Fremantle have just... They haven't shown up this quarter at all, Tomo. They're minus 26 in contested possession. Port Adelaide have been able to turn that into a positive, and they are just running all over Fremantle. If you're Fremantle, you've got massive concerns of what's actually going on right now.
Yeah, and at this level, you can't afford to take the foot off at all. And Freo have done that. It's like they thought it was just going to happen, and Port have taken full advantage of that, and their urgency and intensity has gone to another level, and Freo, throughout this quarter, haven't been able to match it.
Second quarters are the worst for Fremantle this season, 7-12. Might be 7-13 after this one. Port in front after trailing by 26, up 10, and a free kick in the middle will give Fremantle safe. Andrew Brayshaw held. He has it in the centre circle. Has a runner. Riding shotgun was Clark. Gives it everything. A long bomb towards the goal square. Tracy looked to the umpire immediately as he stuck his mitts in the air. Felt that Zerk Thatcher was all over him, and the umpire agrees. Free kick straight in front.
I'd like to see that again.
I think Aaliyah might have had a bit of a jumper toe, but it's close. Josh Tracy has the footy. Chance to be their leading goal kicker in consecutive seasons, but the Tools have been relatively quiet so far tonight. Tracy starts from 35. Gee, powers it through with a bullet punchy strike. 2 for the night for Josh Tracy. Margin is back down to 4. Port still lead. 7-5-47 Fremantle, 6-7-43. Time on in the third on ABC Sport. Over at the Docklands, Gold Coast lead Carlton by 36. And that's early in the third quarter, and about to have another set shot as well. So you can hear that on the ABC Listen app through the AFL button. But surprisingly, this is turning out to be the better game, Tomo.
Well, yeah, and centre bounce free kick. Inside 50, free kick. Now, you could argue it might have been there. There wasn't a lot in it, but the Vumpies have paid it, and didn't Freo desperately need that one just to realign themselves in the back half of this second quarter?
The centre bounce clearances are both for huge for both teams tonight. A lot of score sources coming from that particular part of the ground, so it feels like whoever wins centre bounce is going to kick a goal.
4 points the margin. Port Adelaide in front. Jackson knocks it towards Bolton. Had some pressure from Rosie. Coming off centre half back was Farrell. Diving on top of the footy is Rosie. Tackled straight away, and will have a ball up forward of the centre circle for the Dockers. Umpire just clearing the space. Jackson knocks it down again. Butters read it best. A dangerous handball over his back towards Wines that was gathered by Bolton. Gets it back to Clark, who pumps it inside the forward 50, and playing in front was Frederick. Marks on the paint of the 50 just away to the right.
Just got caught on the back foot a little bit there, Mead. He was flat-footed as the ball was coming forward. And smart forward craft by Frederick just to get around him.
We saw him pump one from 55 metres in the first quarter, so certainly not out of his range here. It will take a similar kick. Going for goal number 2, Frederick from 55 metres. Decent contact, but away to the left, and flying across the front of the pack was Zerk Thatcher to rush it through for a minor score. Fremantle go to 6-8-44, Port 7-5-47. 26 and a half minutes gone, but there's still plenty of time left in this second term.
Kane Farrell to bring it in. Carrying a heavy load at half-back without Dan Houston and the injuries to Connor Rosie recently. Pinpoint pass up to left half-back to Ollie Lord. He hasn't quite fired as a forward, so maybe the switch down back could revitalise him. Lord to the left-back pocket as he retreats to Farrell. And across the goal face to Zerk Thatcher. Fremantle's just closing in here. Wall set up, and Port have conceded a lot of territory. Zerk Thatcher's running out of room to move in. Plays on. Looks for an exit. Rioli had a huge hanger attempt. He took a seat on top of Warner, but just couldn't get the mark. And out the back, Ryan cuts it off. It was a bit audacious from Willie Rioli.
And Warner's got a sore head to go with it.
Ryan looks for the switch of his own. Through the centre square, Pearce, and now to right half forward. Mark taken by Erasmus. Contract year for the first round pick. Hasn't quite fired this campaign. This kick looks good though. Erasmus into Voss. And he gets stuck into the defenders as well. Big shove to Ollie Lord, Patrick Voss. He's an absolute character. We've seen him have a lot of fun at Perth Stadium. Can he fire here at Adelaide Oval? And as he's walking back, he gets right in the face of Connor Rosie as well. Not a lip from this young man.
Well, he's hardly touched it. In fact, this is his first touch. So I don't know what he's lipping off about.
First lick of the Sharon for the night, Dean, late in the second term. But he is a barometer.
Delisted bomber, but in a good run of form. 12 goals in the last 3. Can he open his account? Patrick Voss trots in, short approach, but doesn't miss. And walks straight into Ollie Lord, shoves a finger in his face, and Travis Boak doesn't like it at all. Fremantle take the lead back, and there's a scuffle inside their 50. The Dockers by 3, and there's some feeling in this one. Fremantle fighting for top 4, Port Adelaide for pride. But after a really one-sided opening term, it's game on ABC Sport. Fremantle 7-8-50, Port 7-5-47.
Well, Freo just steadied the ship a little bit there. I don't mind that from Vossi. We know he likes to carry on. We know he likes to celebrate a goal. And I think that's just him forcing a bit of energy to get himself into the game. He's registered his first touch there. Nice quality finish. But he knows himself he has to have more impact.
Braden Ingram.
Strong boos from the Power Faithful as he came to the bench and just had a wry smile on his face there, Voss.
One touch, one goal.
And a whole lot of carry on.
And it puts the Dockers back in front. They were dominating that first quarter, 4 goals to nothing. But Port have kicked 7 goals to 3 in this second quarter. What a term it's been. The Dockers with that one, the last 2 goals to get back in front. They lead it by 3 points late in this second quarter. Sweet knocks it down. Sarong gets clean hands on it to O'Meara, who gave Butters the don't argue, but it was too high.
No, umpire, please.
I'd like to see that again. I don't reckon he got him in the head at all.
I'm going home.
Tomo, you wouldn't have lasted long if that was a free kick in your day.
Very short career for Scott Thompson. Played over 300 games with stuff like that. Good kick out towards Richards from the free kick. He's got it at right half forward for Port Adelaide. Bright red boots. The former Collingwood player, recruit in the off-season, goes inside the forward 50 now, looking for Georgiades, coming over the top with Sweet. Roving was Liddy, just ran past the ball. McEntee shrugs a tackle. Liddy's still down. Keep an eye on that one. Banfield's quick kick out was dropped by Richards. Dangerous ball, and the only man who was able to grab it was Brayshaw. Quick handball to Darcy. Switkowski under pressure. Liddy's back up on his feet towards McEntee. They're outside their 50 now, but Butters has got it. Centres the ball across to Lord. He's worked his way forward, the big defender, former forward. Imagine if he kicked one on Voss. Handballs it off to Farrell. A chip kick from outside 50. He was dealt with after the play. Umpire says no. Gathered by Rioli. Smothered kick. McEntee tries to shrug a tackle. Handballs it off. Berry snap. Pulled it across the face and hit the behind post out in the full. Chaos.
Take a breath,
should have
Tom.
goal.
Jeez.
Great call, Tommy. Brilliant,
Great
mate.
call. The game's got some chaotic pace about it at the moment, isn't it? Which I don't mind. A bit of chaos footy is good footy. It's the modern game, chaos footy, and Port Adelaide are playing it really well at the moment. They are pressing really hard.
It's not quite finals footy, though. It's just ugly. Out
be
to
a
the
quick
eastern
start.
side, a searching kick from Banfield, cut off. Aaliyah takes the intercept mark. They're not happy with the man on the mark. Dudley kind of stepped forward. Bolton, I think, was supposed to be the man, and he was trotting back. And they've given away a 50. So some miscommunication. And Aaliyah will have a set shot on goal. This will be his first ever goal for Port Adelaide as well.
Well, you back him in from here. It's a beautiful kick, Aaliyah, but some of these players are actually quite silly with this 50 metres. That was a 50 metre every day of the week. He just kept running it, Aaliyah, when the mark was paid. Like, you've got to be smarter than that. Consequences are just huge.
5 goals with Sydney. Arrived in 2021, Aaliyah. The All-Australian defender comes in from 40 and has his first goal in the till. And they know it as well. They run from everywhere to engulf Aaliyah. Port Adelaide's back in front. Another lead change.
Everyone except for Big Sweetie, he's back waiting for the centre bounce.
Ruckerman didn't want to get involved.
We'll get him when he runs past him. See, they're doing it now.
There we go.
He's running past him now. He's too smart, the Ruckerman.
Good on you, big fella.
Why go
Just
down there?
Saving a few petrol tickets, Brogues, like you used to back in the day.
Don't cut the meat. Don't cut the meat.
8-5-53 to Fremantle, 7-8-50. We've played 32 minutes in this second term, but it's been a cracker on ABC Sport.
What a quarter by Port Adelaide. This would be by far their best quarter for the year. 8 goals in a quarter, and the energy and effort that they've brought this quarter, where's it been? Like, this is what we want to see. This is what the supporters want to see. This is brilliant football from Port Adelaide and Fremantle. You got a game on your hands.
Sweet knocks it out towards the wing. Drew lays a strong tackle. Wines is ready to collect. Spins, gets it to Sweet. His handball just missed the running Farrell. Put his teammates under pressure. Switkowski was pulled off the footy. Knocked forward there cleverly in the middle of the ground by Erasmus. The kick's out in front of Reed. He's got Boat for company. He's trying to burn him off, but he was pushed towards the boundary line. Frederick runs towards the boundary line. Pushed off his kick by McEntee. Play on, says the umpire. O'Driscoll to Reed. It was Sarong to Reed. To Frederick. He's mowed down by Darcy Byrne-Jones holding the ball.
Brilliant pressure, brilliant getting at the player. The 37-year-old Boki chasing down a younger player on the wing. He stuck with him just enough, so he held him up a little bit, but brilliant effort.
Caught by three, Georgiades! What a mark!
That's a brilliant grab.
He launched himself over Brendan Cox off the exiting kick. Well, about the hang time. Mitch Georgiades. And a short pass to Willem Drew now, close to the defensive edge. Port by 3. Where has this been? Down the line, 3-on-3. Darcy strong as he bounced off, got front position, took the uncontested grab. He's looked good, Big Sean. Played the last 7 now for Fremantle after a horrid run of injuries. Down the line, his kick to his fellow ruckman in Jackson, who clunks it on top of Zerk Thatcher. He's too far out to score, but has an option. Right next to him in Banfield. Bullet pass into the 50. Little hop for Frederick. Aaliyah mops it up at the back. Handed it to Byrne-Jones. Kick smothered by the face of Switkowski. Bolton overran it. Picked up clean by Brayshaw. Reed shakes it off the step. Oh, it'll work. It was up and under.
It was touched.
And it was touched. So Luke Jackson was waiting for it in the pocket. It looked like it was going to go out. In the end, he took it. Mark wasn't paid, and he's escorted over 20 from home. So we'll get a boundary throw in inside 50 right now for Fremantle, currently trailing by 3.
Boundary throw in. Dangerous position late in this quarter. Sweet grabbed it off the ground. He was tackled. Handballed off to Frederick, who did some sweet footwork, but just his snapshot went away to the right-hand side, minus score. So Fremantle missed opportunity there. 7-9-51. 36 minutes gone in this quarter. Port 8-5-53. Braden Ingram.
Power defender Josh Sin had been on and off the bike. He's now gone down into the rooms with one of the power doctors.
11-goal term, and the majority of those Port Adelaide, who were goalless in the first quarter and have had 8 to Fremantle's 3. They'll lead by 2 points after trailing by 25 at the first change. Port fans have been crying for this kind of effort. They don't even need the results. They just want to see some sort of motivation. And maybe Travis Boak was the answer. Port Adelaide lead at the major break. 8-5-53 to Fremantle's 7-9-51. Goal scorers for the Power. 2 to Georgiades. Singles to McEntee, Richards, Aaliyah. His first in the teal. Rioli, Lukosius and Rosie. For Fremantle, 2 to Bolton, and singles to Sarong, Voss, Frederick, and 2 to Tracy as well. So Fremantle are letting a top 4 spot slip right now. They looked everything much like a contender in the first quarter, and now they're showing the shades of what we've seen over this great winning run. They've won 10 of their last 11, but none of them have been overly emphatic, and they've fallen away in this second quarter. If you're a Dockers fan, though, don't lose hope. They are tremendous in second halves, and Port Adelaide are abysmal in them. So you never know what can happen from here. But as of right now, Port Adelaide look like the Power of old we've known over the past couple of seasons. Scott Thompson, Dean Brogan, your experts to break it all down on ABC Sport.
Well, that was a complete turnaround, wasn't it, Brogues, from the first quarter? Now, you could argue Freo maybe just expected it to happen. I don't know, because they had so much of the ball on their terms in the first quarter, and they went forward with ease, without any contest from Port Adelaide. But that looked like Port sent out 22 new players in that second quarter. The numbers that we reeled off at quarter time, so they flipped the script completely. So Port Adelaide that quarter, contested possession plus 14, uncontested possession plus 15, clearances are on top by 1, ground ball gets plus 4, and they went inside 53 more occasions. But it wasn't only the fact they were able to play a forward half game. It was the intensity and urgency that they started to play with. They were sharp by hand, and when it did go forward, their ability to compete when the ball hit the ground to actually lock it in their front half, so the pressure would mount on the Freo Dockers in their back half.
Yeah, look, what they did is they got to work. They got to work. They started winning contests, and what we all called here, the speed on the ball, they didn't get it right all the time. They probably played onto someone who wasn't in a better position, but they had a clear intent. They got to go quicker. We've got to get our forwards a bit more of a look, because we said in the first quarter they were just dump kicking it in. So what they did is they just put speed on the ball. Sometimes they got it right, sometimes they didn't. But I tell you what, football's not a hard game. It's a very hard game, but if you bring energy and effort, and you've got a little bit of talent, and you have a crack, that's what you can do. Now, the Jekyll and Hyde team, we have not seen that from Port Adelaide pretty much for all year. I mean, they've had some okay wins this year, but that's the best quarter of football they have played all year. And guess what? They don't have their best 22 out there, do they, Tomo?
Well, that's the thing. Effort and attitude are not a skill. That's a choice. And what they did that quarter was they chose to bring the right attitude and play with some effort. Yeah, and it's amazing what happens.
And especially with them, when they do that, everything else starts to tick with them. Like most teams, but especially Port Adelaide. They're a bit of the Jekyll and Hyde team, aren't they? They do that, and all of a sudden, that's what they can do. So really good. We spoke pre-game about taking something next year. Well, they've shown everybody tonight that they've got something to play for, and the next couple of weeks, the second half, still half to go. But if you Fremantle, this is why we don't rate them as much as what we do, because
I was waiting for that.
they should have been up by 8 goals and they weren't, and they've let a side that's sitting in 13th back into the team, and your top 4 aspirations are on the line tonight, and that just wasn't good enough for me in that second quarter. And full credit to Port Adelaide, they absolutely took it up to them, and it was a brilliant quarter of football.
Also, finals aspiration. That's where it's
so much on the line.
It pivots so much in either direction. You'd think after that first quarter, they're walking into the top 4 now. They've really got a game on their hands, and this is the test for them. And I know the Dockers fans will be sitting there and saying, leave us alone, but they would have been riding this. They've been riding this for years.
Absolutely, and we touched on it before the game about Freo's inability throughout the season to really finish sides off, and how percentage may play a role come the pointy end of the season with the way the ladder shapes. But I'm wanting to know now, after that first half and the contrast in Q1 to quarter 2, is what does Justin Longmuir say to his team at half-time? He's got full reason to go in and give them a fair income absolute spray on their output around the willingness to compete when the game was on the line, because they had it on their terms and they chose. Yes, Port Adelaide lifted their intensity, they showed more effort and they came with a better attitude, but Fremantle definitely dropped away, I think, just expecting it to happen like it did in the first quarter.
If your biggest weakness is being outworked, that's a real concern heading into September, because finals footy is contested ball. And if that's the floor of Fremantle, they're not going to go too far, are they, bros?
Well, judging on that second quarter, no. But, it can happen. You take the foot off the pedal, and you got Port Adelaide, all of a sudden they get their tails up. And Port Adelaide, we know that's what they can do. We just haven't seen it enough. But look, either way, gentlemen, we've got a good game on our hands. It's coming to the game tonight. You're thinking, how's this going to go? This could be a long night, hard game to call. I'm enjoying this call, and yeah, it's a really good quality game, and we got a good second half.
Looking forward to it, and what I have enjoyed, Brogue, is there were a few goals scored to the southern end of the back half of that second quarter.
The drought is over. You wouldn't want to buy a ticket at the Riverbank stand at the moment, the way it's going. You wouldn't want to buy a ticket to this game, though, because it's a lot better than what's happening at Docklands. So heading towards three-quarter time, and the Suns are surging away now from Carlton. So Gold Coast currently lead by 44 points. Live Ladder has them in 5th, so they're that draw behind Brisbane, who lost to Sydney earlier today. So Fremantle win, they jump into the 4. They lose, they're currently in 7th. Could be 8th by the end of the round, with the Dogs still to play. And then, for the Suns, they have every chance to jump into the top 4 over the next fortnight. So it will likely be Adelaide against Geelong or Gold Coast in the first week of finals. And then take your pick out of the rest, because 2 and 3, Collingwood's falling apart. Brisbane had a shock loss. Hawthorn's coming with a wet sail. So it's a great time to be a contender right now. Absolutely loving it. So the Suns sitting in 5th would be trying to gather as much percentage as they can right now, given that even though Brisbane have the draw, everybody else is on level playing field, and Fremantle, it's just falling out of their grip. They've got a top 4 spot on the line and they need to find a response. Down 2 points at half-time. We'll give you the full details of the earlier games and what's happening in the other codes in a moment, and also run through some of your texts, 0437 774 774. But for now on ABC Radio, Sport Digital and the ABC Listen app, we can take the latest from the ABC newsroom.
ABC News with David Rowlands. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says decisions made without his country will not bring peace and has ruled out giving up territory to Russia. It comes as US President Donald Trump prepares to meet with Russian leader Vladimir Putin in Alaska next week, saying they will discuss potential land swaps to end Moscow's war on Ukraine. Mr. Zelensky says giving land to Russia would breach his country's constitution.
Ukrainians will not gift their land to the occupier. Ukraine is ready for real decisions that can bring peace. Any decisions that are against us, any decisions that are without Ukraine are at the same time decisions against peace.
Data from the United Nations Population Fund has revealed that up to 40% of pregnant and breastfeeding women in Gaza are suffering from severe malnutrition. The UN says more than 96% of Palestinian households in the territory also lack clean water, forcing them to decide between drinking, cooking and washing. Health authorities in Gaza say around 200 Palestinians have now starved to death as a result of Israel's blockade. Displaced mother of 3, Inas, says she has to give the little food she has to her children.
We hope the entire world stands with us. Every day we see people going to the aid distribution points, walking straight to death just to bring bread back for their children. We see how blood mixes with flour, a bite of bread soaked in blood.
Prime Minister Anthony Albanese is in New Zealand for talks with his Kiwi counterpart Christopher Luxon. Regional security and global uncertainty are expected to be at the centre of the annual talks. Mr Albanese says that Australia and New Zealand have a very close relationship.
Our single economic market really is an example for the world in how free and fair trade and economic engagement benefits everyone who's a party to it.
More than 130 flights have been delayed in India's capital, Delhi, and traffic has been disrupted on several major roads following heavy rains and floods. Airlines are urging passengers to check the status of their flights before travelling. Videos shared online show cars stranded in floodwaters and commuters wading through flooded roads in the capital. Meteorologists are warning that there will be more heavy rain in the next 24 hours. Back home, and the ABC understands the Tasmanian government will end greyhound racing funding by 2029 in an attempt to garner support from crossbenchers after failing to win a majority in last month's snap election. Chris Rowbottom has more on this story.
Neither the Liberal or Labor Party won enough seats to govern in majority. That's meant they've had to go to a very progressive-leaning crossbench in order to curry favour, in order to form a government. Parliament's due to sit in about 10 days, and the Liberals have made a really big play. They've put greyhound racing in Tasmania on the table. The plan to wind up the industry by 2029 in line with the current funding deed and in time to give the industry time to transition. Now, the context is that there are several crossbenchers in Tasmania who are passionately against greyhound racing. Christy Johnston, Peter George, and of course the 5 Greens that are in Parliament.
The world's ugliest dog competition has wrapped up in the US state of California, with a pup named Petunia crowned the winner for 2025. The 2-year-old hairless French bulldog mix is described by her owner as a world-class snuggler. She wins a cash prize and a trip to New York City. The competition has been held for the past half-century and highlights pet rescue shelters and promotes adopting dogs of all ages and appearances. In sport, Sydney AFL coach Dean Cox says his side's 2-point win over Brisbane was an important step forward. The Swans held a 20-point lead at three-quarter time and were able to hang on after 3 late goals from the Premiers, saw them get within striking distance. Cox has told Fox Sports that there's still plenty of room for improvement in his side.
We just allowed them to walk out of clearances too easy. So when you get to those stop situations, we want more pressure on the ball carrier, and we let ourselves down, certainly especially late in the last couple of minutes. You know, our boys defended really well behind the ball.
In the earlier match, St Kilda edged out Richmond by 4 points. ABC News.
The summer of cricket has arrived early.
Clubs it straight down the ground for 6. He's on the pull shot. Boy, did he get that!
White ball cricket takes centre stage in the top end as Australia take on South Africa.
Shout for leg before, finger goes on.
It all starts on Sunday on the ABC
Down
Listen
the
app.
pitch, there we go. Bang!
Every ball live. Just click on the cricket button.
On the ABC Listen app, stream a wide range of free audiobooks, like from Leanne Moriarty, James Patterson, Tim Winton, and Kate Morton. No catch, just press play. Find free audiobooks on the ABC Listen app.
This is the 2025 AFL Premiership season on ABC Sport.
Sweet knocks it down, a perfect tap to Butters, who takes a bounce, runs towards centre half forward, chips it over just too much on Lukosius, probably ran underneath it. McEntee gathered up towards Georgiades, he brings it to ground, rode by Richards, goal by Richards. They've got back-to-back goals, the Power, and it gives the home fans something to cheer about.
Mitch Georgiades to really get this crowd going, leans back from 30. Port have 3 in a row. And Fremantle's 26-point lead is down to just 8. Tossed in Whitlock in the ruck, tapped it straight to Rioli, rolls a kick up to the goal square, Lukosius one-on-one, battling there, trying to get past Chapman, shrugged him off, dummied, check side, Jack Lukosius! Where did that come from?
If you're Fremantle, you've got massive concerns of what's actually going on right now.
So he's going to get walked to the goal line, Willie Rioli, back into the side after a few weeks off, and he's going to feast here. Pumps it through. Willie Rioli, that's 3 on the bounce for the Power. There's 7th for the quarter.
Can he open his account? Patrick Voss trots in, short approach, but doesn't miss. And walks straight into Ollie Lord, shoves a finger in his face, and Travis Boak doesn't like it at all. Fremantle take the lead back. Arrived in 2021, Alia. The All-Australian defender comes in from 40 and has his first goal in the till. And they know it as well. They run from everywhere. Port Adelaide's back in front.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the AFL.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Fremantle are letting a top 4 opportunity slip away at the Adelaide Oval. Brisbane losing earlier today by 2 points left the door ajar for the Dockers to leapfrog their way into a serious position on the eve of September. And they've got a tough fortnight to come, Fremantle, up against the Lions and the Dogs on the run home. They started hot, put Port to the sword as expected with the Power in a pretty poor run of form. But what a response from Port Adelaide. It's what fans have been crying out to see and what many hoped Travis Boak's retirement announcement would enforce. Took them a quarter to get going, but finally the effort they've been craving was rewarded. And Port kicking 8 goals to 3 in the second quarter, now up by 2 points at half-time. And we've got a game on our hands for Saturday night footy on ABC Sport. Aaron Bryan's calling it all alongside Tom Wilson. Scott Thompson and Dean Brogan, your experts, with Braden Ingram downstairs. The other game that's happening at the moment is over at the Docklands. 3-quarter time there. You can hear it on the ABC Listen app through the AFL button. It's pretty one-sided though. So Gold Coast lead Carlton by 55 points. 12, 84 to 6, 39. That was bad maths on my end. That's 45 points.
Yep.
Extra 10 added there. Thanks, Damien Hardwick. You can add it to my paycheck. But no, they're still up and about in a pretty good position at 3-quarter time. And Ben King has been leading the charge. He's got 5 heading into the final quarter. It's almost a 6-horse race for the runner-up in the Coleman medal. Jeremy Cameron's got both hands on that comfortably. But regardless, Mitch Georgiades is one of the contenders, battling with Ben King and Jack Gunston. And he's had a good evening, Ben King, at the Docklands under the lid. Ben Long's had 3 as well, in terms of some of the leading possession getters. Ollie Hollands with 26 for the Blues. Matt Rao has 23. Braden Fiorini with 19 as well for the Suns, who currently lead by 45 points. I mentioned earlier today the middle game, Sydney upsetting Brisbane by 2 at the SCG. So the Swans have won 7 of their last 9 now. Great way to end the season. They've had a lot of injuries through the campaign. First year of Dean Cox as well. So you feel like it has all the makings of hopefully a quick rebounding season in 2026. But gee, Brisbane in a world of hurt now. So nearly snatched it late. They kicked 3 goals in 3 minutes when Brodie Grundy came up with a head injury. And the last 4 as well went their way. But they just ran out of time, Brisbane, to lose by 2. And Isaac Heaney was the best player on the ground. Almost his flu game. He was sick heading in. Had 5 goals, 23 touches, and took an absolute hanger on Josh Dunkley as well. That will be mark of the round, you'd think. Which Georgiades had a contender in this game, but probably not as good as Isaac Heaney's in the middle of the ground. So Sydney with an upset win. Brisbane's top 4 spot looking a little bit wobbly, with Fremantle to come next weekend and then Hawthorn after that. So suddenly some of these contenders have some tough matchups, and we've been craving for some good fixtures. We might get them over this final fortnight on ABC Sport. The early game saw St Kilda defeat Richmond by 4 points. Another close one where it really shouldn't have been. The Saints were up by 20 early, had 48 uncontested marks in the first quarter, just pressureless from Richmond. The Tigers turned it on though, ended up leading by 8 at 3-quarter time. The Saints kicked the last couple of the game to get over the line. Nasiah Wanganeen-Millera, the talk of the town in the footy industry, especially here in South Australia, 33 touches and a goal. Jack Sinclair had 30 possessions and a major as well. And the news from the MRO with Dylan Shield, one of these rare incidents where he was cited for behaviour that almost hurt his teammate in Luan Lual. So he pushed Mark O'Connor into a marking contest. Lual was tunnelled, landed on his head. He's been sent to the tribunal without being graded. So the AFL has recommended a 1-match suspension, but is leaving it in the hands of the tribunal to determine what happens with Dylan Shield after he nearly injured his teammates. 0437 774 774 is the text line as well. A couple of your texts coming through on the ABC Sport text line as well. Shout out to Dean, who says great comments from Brogan. He didn't use your first name, obviously, because Dean and Dean, best mates, obviously. Says great comments from Dean Brogan, who obviously hasn't watched one of the Dockers games this season. Even the spanking of the Adelaide Crows, the team with the best win rate against the top 9 sides. We will see you in the finals. So Dean,
let's just see how we go tonight.
Very confident.
They're down at half time to a team that's sitting 13th, so we'll just park that comment till the end of the game.
He's very bullish about Fremantle's prospects, but they are a second half special team, so we'll see if they can turn it on, where Port Adelaide generally fades away as well. Ruline Adelaide, talking about the lopsided scoring at the Cathedral end, says Madonna played Adelaide Oval in 1993. You connect the dots because I can't. So I'm not sure if that's, he's trying to put up a prayer or something there from Rulai, but totally get where you're going. Your text are filing through on 0437 774 774 as well. So do get in touch with us across the night, across these 2 games as well. So final quarter underway at the Docklands. Suns leading by 45, and here Port Adelaide by 2. Dean Brogan, Scott Thompson, can Port Adelaide keep up this intensity?
Well, it remains to be seen, doesn't it? They haven't been able to. I think they've only won 2 or 3 last quarters, if that, this season. So they do run out of legs over the course of the season. They've been horrible in second half, especially last quarter. So Fremantle would know that. But if Port Adelaide keep putting pace on the ball and keep showing their energy and effort around the football in the contest and just have a crack, they're in with a massive chance tonight, because Fremantle, they didn't like it. They were on the back foot for most of that quarter, but either way, we've got a pretty good game on our hands.
I'm expecting a sharp response in the first 5 minutes from Freo here.
So at half-time, Port leader by 2 points. A huge third quarter ahead in the context of the Dockers season. Darcy knocks it down, but straight to Drew, who gets it to Sweet. Big tackle from Brayshaw, who rode him into the ground. Gets the handball away to Joe Berry at centre-half forward. Dived in the back was Clark. Darcy going in on his hands and knees too to Sarong. Clark's got it at centre-half back finally for the Dockers, and they get that outlet kick that they needed to Erasmus. He's at the corner of the centre square. Finds Bolton at centre wing, who takes the mark in front of Sin.
2 goals for the night, Shea Bolton. He's right in front of the benches. Checks the kick a little too casually to O'Meara. It bounces off his shin and he paddles it right over the line as the walls close in. Deliberate.
That was very lazy.
Lazy kick.
Perfect word to sum that up.
He hasn't been sharp tonight, Bolton. He's had a couple of opportunities. He just looks a little bit off tonight.
Wines takes the free kick. Good pass up towards Lukosius. Too far out to score, but he's got a leading target. Georgiades was behind Pearce, but lost him as he darted one way and then the other. Pearce bit right. Georgiades went left, and he weaved his way into a leading lane. Takes the mark, 35 out.
Jordan Clark, come on, mate. You need to just get a hand on that. You have to. But that's Freo now. They've started this. I said I expected a response. Lazy by Bolton. Kicked off the back foot. O'Meara paddles it out. Free against. And that little short arm there by Clark, where I think he could have got a hand on that ball defensively.
Mitch Georgiades Starts at right half forward. Stutter step, crosses the paint of 50. It's starting right, a little bit of curl, but not enough. And a minor score on the right-hand side. Port Adelaide by 3. Fremantle need to find some energy. Top 4 on the line tonight.
Clark kicks it out from full back to centre half forward. A dangerous ball. McEntee roves. The coach has sat under it. It was brave. Roved here by Butters. It was Berry. He snoops. He goes on the left foot. The first-year player kicked a nice goal against the Cats last week and an even better one here against the Dockers and gets the first of the third quarter for the Power. They go to 9-6-60. Fremantle 7-9-51. 2 minutes gone.
Well, you want to see a response, Tomo. They've done totally the opposite. They've looked a little bit flat. Bolton's kick, the out of bounds on the 4 by Mira, it was obvious. The defender not chopping off that pass when he should have to Mitch Georgiadis. The lazy kick just then from the kick in. They just look completely rattled Fremantle since quarter time. They didn't put Port Adelaide well on the scoreboard. They've let them back in, and now they don't really have an answer for them at the moment. And Port Adelaide's energy and effort is through the roof.
Well, Port Adelaide look like the team that they have more to play for at the moment, don't they? Whereas we've touched on more than enough occasions now that Freo have a top 4 aspiration riding on this game.
The Dockers were up by 26 in the second term, now down 9. Out of the middle, they get the clearance. Darcy bangs it towards the 50. Tracy caught behind Zirk Thatcher. Hits the deck. Front and square was Burn-Jones, but he paddled it back to Tracy. He hands it to O'Driscoll. 40 out. Kick is wayward off a step. And out on the full. Fremantle are fumbling at the moment. Golden opportunity, and it's just not going to plan. Aaliyah will take the free kick in the left back pocket.
A goal kicker tonight, Aaliyah. He's first for the Power. Kicks down the line. Gathered there. Snapped around the body by Whitlock. Foot races on towards the centre wing. Manager to keep it in play was Lukosius. Handballed over the top to Liddy. Didn't go the first option, but it worked to Wines. Now to Sweet. Kicks inside the forward 50. One-on-one for Georgiades. Worked under it from Cox. But the numbers are with Port Adelaide. Lorenz gets a handball out to Berry. He was tackled high. Free kick against Chapman. And Lorenz will have a shot 40 metres out directly in front.
I got a little bit concerned when Big Jordan Sweet kicked to a 3v1 and almost brought rain with that kick. He did have one out just to his left. He probably didn't see him, but they got away with it. Free kick, shot on goal.
You called it well, Tommy. The numbers for Port Adelaide inside that 50, the work rate to get inside 50 and get to the crumb of that ball was way better than what Fremantle's work rate was. That gives you an opportunity to get the ball for a free kick, which is what's happening right now.
So Lorenz had a shot from here earlier tonight. Can he make amends? Kicks from 45. Did it get the journey? It's play on, says the umpire. Twisted back into play.
That looked like it cleared the line.
They're going to have a look at this, which is what they're going to do. It's going to be a goal score review. Let's get to Braden Ingram in the meantime.
Yeah, Josh Sin, he started the quarter on the ground, but he has come off again now. It does look to be a little bit sore, so he's going to try and battle through, but he's possibly not right, having gone down to the race at the end of the second term.
So an update there from the boundary line. We've just got a review in process. I just want to check if this actually went over in the first place, because if it did, it's a goal. But if not, they've punched it through. So we're just getting the replay now.
Oh, touched.
Just touched on the line, and it went back into play, and then in the end became a rush behind. So it's going to be a minor score to Port Adelaide once they work their way. Oh, actually, did it touch that first hand, Scott Thompson? If it hasn't touched that first hand, this is a goal.
It's Falcon, Alex Pearce behind the goal line.
Did it miss the second hand?
If it's missed the second hand, I think it's Cox at the back end, but it must have hit the first hand here.
Well, the umpire's decision in the end, I think he's called it behind. Yeah.
Okay. So it is a minor score like we thought. Port Adelaide go to 9-7-61. Fremantle is 7-9-51. 6 minutes gone.
Luke Ryan nearly slips over as he loads up towards the broadcast wing. Tracy there, knocked it down. Sarong read it best. Hands it up to Frederick. He's weaving his way away from Burn-Jones. The kick is perfect. Off balance, inboard. Hits Luke Jackson at left half forward. Kick away from a scoring shot. Jackson wants to centre it. He'll place it to the goal square. On the march and flying is Tracy. Couple of juggles, couldn't take it. Mead tried to get a handball out, had an arm pinned and threw it. Bolton with the fend off. He's running out of room. Got it to Frederick. The snap from 30. Curling, but it started far right. And a minor score for Freo. Margin for Port. A 9-point lead once again. 6 into the third.
Yeah, they were lucky then. I thought Mead would have been caught holding the ball. I'm not sure how he got the ball out.
Is that the old school definition of holding the ball?
That was a legit holding the ball, and they completely
Incorrect
missed it.
disposal?
Yep. Swung 360, flung out. Sometimes they rule came out in the contest. Farrell's going to bring it in. Finds Aaliyah at right half back. So Port Adelaide up by 9 points. Gets to a one-on-one. Wines v Brayshaw down the ring. Brayshaw had his arm, but it was gathered nicely by Lorenz, who's having a good little purple patch. And Wines was dealt with after he kicked, so we'll get a downfield free kick to Lukosius. They need to bring him back on the ground. It's not going to be downfield. The umpire was asking him to come back on the ground, but he'd already come off for their rotation.
Butters wasn't giving up that kick either, by the way. It's another possession.
He's probably up past 20 now. Goes short to Travis Boak in game 385. And he cheered like that every time he touches the footy. Goes short to Lukosius. So he's about 80 metres out from goal. And he's going to kick this long for Georgiades to fly. Fisted down by Cox. Underneath it was Rosie, pushed under it by Sarong. Rosie goes again, gets it to Drew, off to Butters, to Richards at right half forward. Centering ball, how's the vision to McEntee 35 metres out and a slight angle to the right.
Did he mean that? I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt because it did lace him out. Oh, yep.
Just great vision there from Richards. And McEntee can line up for goal number 2. And the second in this quarter for Port Adelaide, who've brought the same intensity that we saw in that second quarter where they kicked 8 goals. Jed McEntee, 35 metres out, sets sail for home. He knew straight away. He's got 2, Jed McEntee. Big few games for him at the end of this season. And this is a huge game for Fremantle in the context of their season. They now trail by 15 points. Port at 10-7, 67. Fremantle 7-10, 52.
Well, the energy and effort has gone up another level for Port Adelaide. They're just everywhere at the moment. They're winning all the contests. There's lots of numbers around the contest. So when Freo look to exit, they've just got nothing. And they're just everywhere, Port Adelaide. And that's a great inside kick by Richards. Most players just have a ping and either kick it to the top of the square, but the real clever ones, that's a really hard kick on his back foot, slices it through the middle. That's some Zach Butters stuff, and he's got a bit of talent, Richards. They got him over from Collingwood for a reason. He's had some really good games. You've seen some really quiet ones, but he's definitely a player that will look like he's going to play some decent footy for the football club.
Bounce recalled as it favoured Fremantle. Caught by 15, tossed into the air. Sweet and Jackson both launch. The power ruckman wins it down to the Brownlow medalist in Wines. Rosie did enough to get it back to him. He's head over the footy and just crunched by Brayshaw. Extracted it well. Tried to get it to Jackson, but he fumbled. Rosie picks it up. Handball across, picked off now by Erasmus. Bit of volleyball between the arcs. Finally, Banford gets a kick away up to Bolton. Turns quickly, tries to drop it into the 50. Murphy Reid did well. He had Rosie coming in, eyes for the body, but he held his ground, took the mark, the youngster, 45 from home. Fremantle need this dearly. They burst out of the blocks and have faded ever since quarter time. Young Murphy Reid. 4 goals and 2 votes in the ABC Sport Footballer of the Year in round 11. He gets very close to the man on the mark. Doesn't hurt his chances at all. Pure skill from Murphy Reid. His first of the night. Port's lead down to 9. They're 10-7, 67 to Fremantle's 8-10, 58. 11 played in the third quarter. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport. Over at the Docklands, the Blues with a bit of a fight back. Gold Coast's lead in the final quarter with 12 to go is currently 18 points.
Well, sorry, Tom. I was just going to say, Fremantle really needed that. They really needed the settler to get themselves going, and that's a monster kick by the young fella. He booted that 55 metres. Bit unorthodox. The way his run-up was a little bit strange, Tomo, but it worked, and that was a huge kick for Fremantle. And can they get something off the back of that and start to match Port Adelaide with their intensity and effort around the football?
Trailing by 9 points, the Dockers. Sweet grabs it out of the ruck. Handballs to Butters, who runs onto it clean. Centre half forward, looks for Lukosius and hits him on the chest 35 metres out directly in front.
Well, that was far too easy out of the middle for Port Adelaide there, and Butters again, who's had an outstanding game, has had a huge influence probably from halfway through the first quarter onwards. Beautiful kick onto the chest of Lukosius then.
It's his fourth touch of the quarter, leading all comers here, Lukosius. He's got one goal for the night. It was an absolute ripper from the pocket, a check side. This is your regulation drop punt straight through the middle, and a response. The Power bounce back. 11-7-73 with Lukosius second. Fremantle 8-10-58. 12 and a half minutes gone. Third quarter, ABC Sport.
Well, Bros, we touched on some numbers at half-time, and the really important areas in the game at the moment which are costing Fremantle. They're getting a touch-up again in the contest. Not only in the contest, Port Adelaide are on top of the uncontested possession as well. So it's allowing them to play the game in their front half, and Freo got their backs against the wall here, and not a big crowd, but it's a home crowd for Port Adelaide that are starting to generate a little bit of noise here.
The scores from stoppages, I think Port Adelaide kicked 7 goals from stoppages, absolutely dominating in that area from scores from the stoppage. But centre bounce, it feels like Port Adelaide, whenever they get a clear centre bounce, it looks like they're going to score every time. And for Fremantle, you've got to tighten up in that area.
They got smashed by Carlton in the first half last week, and now it's the second so far here at the Adelaide Oval. Port by 15, tossed into the air, quick exit. Long bomb.
Free kick.
Up towards the 50 for Freo, but there's a holding free kick. Dudley infringing against Sin. He'll drill it low. Rosie takes it at centre half back. Arcs across the body and hooks it towards Aaliyah, who's got a paddock in front of him. Kick. Pulled towards Boak. Marching out of the 50. Hands it off to Lorenz. Big shove as he got boot to ball. And out on the full. A desperate dive from Banfield to halt the momentum. And Freo get away with one.
The young fella just needed his right peg then. He took one too many steps trying to straighten up onto his left.
Ryan at left half back for the Dockers. Kicks up towards Jackson. Takes a nice mark, clear run at it. Defensive side of centre wing. Short to Brayshaw.
There's the matchup. Sorry, Whitlock on Jackson. Geez, second game of footy. Welcome to the big time, Whitlock.
Yeah, after playing the Cats last week.
Yeah, he's had a tough couple of weeks, but why not? Get him in there, show him what it's all about.
So Brayshaw went long to Tracy, who marked on the 50. Long in towards the forward line there. Voss dropped a mark. He was spoiled by his teammate. Underground handball from Lorenz to Boak, and his handball was too hot for Sin, who let it get out over the boundary line. We'll have a throw-in. Left half forward for the Dockers, who trail by 15 points. They are up by 25 at quarter time.
Subs, Christian Moraes and Nat Fyfe unactivated so far. Late change was Lockie Jones with illness for Jack Whitlock. Tossed in, sweet down straight to O'Meara. Around the body off a step. Curling towards the top of the goal square, a little bit too high for Amos. Out the back is Liddy, close to the goal line, and a desperate smother. Amos forces it into the behind post, and it will be a boundary throw-in. Left forward pocket for Fremantle. Brisbane losing by 2 points earlier today, so the Dockers win and they're in the top 4. They lose. Live Ladder currently has them 7th, but the Dogs still to play, as are the Giants.
Murphy Reid.
Tossed in, Jackson down. Picked off by Farrell, who was right next to Murphy Reid. You read it well, Tomo. That's why you're the coach of the top 2 Unley Jets right now.
Aren't they flying too?
Out towards left half back for the Power. Rioli hands it to Liddy. Across the body, a bouncing ball up towards the eastern wing. Whitlock did well. Edged off Ryan, but coming the other way, O'Meara. He's got some footy smarts. Kick was dangerous. A hospital one to Brayshaw. He's collected with a fist. Fremantle have a wall though. Banfield back to Warner as they link up. Banfield on the broadcast wing spots Bolton. Kick hot. Did well to keep it in play, Bolton. Tapped it towards Erasmus. Port just continue to fight with their pressure. Fremantle have the options. Banfield hands it off to Bolton, then Warner. Little 1-2 with O'Meara, and that's the footy we want to see from Fremantle. Composure when it's all contested. On the outer side, Chapman heads up towards Voss at right half forward.
Going to go inside the forward 50, up towards Jackson. Aaliyah gets a fist in there. Roved by Murphy Reid, a dribbling goal!
Oh, what a goal.
That was special for Murphy Reid. He's got 2 for the quarter. And that's going to be a contender for goal of the year for the Rising Star candidate. Something from nothing. Fremantle 9-10-64, Port 11-7-73.
That was a quality finish, but what I liked in that build-up was Fremantle's composure. That was sharp hands, ability to change the angle of the ball, but at the same time, well done Port Adelaide. Their pressure was first class. Freo were just good enough on that occasion to work their way through it. If I'm the Port coach, I'd be well done Freo. Great goal, and forced a quality goal from tight on the boundary line by Murphy Reid to finish the play.
He had to kick the goal though, Tomo, because he had sorry, I'm trying to leave his name. He had one of his teammates for a first give and absolutely cold-shouldered him and kicked a miraculous goal from the boundary. But what a goal that was. Spectacular. I think he had Tracy on the inside of him. He was screaming for the ball, looked at him and said, nah, I'm kicking this. Brilliant goal.
He's got some serious skill. Pick 17 in last year's draft. Played every game this season. Port by 9 on ABC Sport. Tapped down Wines, flung it out. O'Meara again, brushes off Drew and then stuck his head into the Wines tackle. Umpire read it well, holding the ball. Brownlow medalist has it for the Power. Again wanted that quick hot handball. Fremantle have started to scout it. It took 2 quarters. They've got someone breathing down the neck of the runner now. Winds towards the 50. Georgiades caught behind. Picked up by Erasmus. Handed it to Clark. Nearly got bulldozed by Drew. Got a handball out to Brayshaw. Back to Sarong. Hacked it out of there. Fumble by Voss. Becomes the tackler and he dumps Aaliyah as he turned towards the turf. Ball up to come. Close to the benches. Port by 9 in the third quarter on ABC Sport.
Freo have just matched Port's intensity the last few minutes, so it's actually a good game of footy to watch right now.
Sweet knocks it down, winds at the back of the pack, gets it off to Farrell onto his left foot. A dribbling, bouncing ball, puts Clark under pressure. McEntee lays the tackle, got the handball out towards Erasmus. Inboard to O'Meara, who was mowed down from behind. Play on, says the umpire. I think we all thought that was holding the ball. Meantime, Sarong's got it at centre-half back. He's got some run from Ryan, kicks out towards the wing. Flying at it was Amos. Hardly called him tonight, but he takes the mark. Short ball to Switkowski, hits him on the chest. Mark paid, and Mead's got to be careful on the mark. Been happy to pay 50 metres tonight. So outer side, bit of tempo footy again from the Dockers. Brayshaw runs towards right half forward. Long ball inside the forward 50, but Aaliyah, no Fremantle player really jumped for that, and Aaliyah takes an uncontested mark and kicks it back to fullback.
Port by 9. Footy in the hands of Lorenz on the behind line. They'll search for the broadcast wing. Oh, the Dockers have a triangle of options, and it's quite... They've given it away.
Oh, wow.
So Brendan Cox, all he had to do was just impede Mitch Georgiades, but he held him. Would have been an intercept mark, and instead, here come Port Adelaide on the slingshot. Joe Richards through the broadcast wing, links up with McEntee. He's got plenty of options. He'll kick it up to the arc. Whitlock can turn. They're queuing up. He'll chip it over the top to Drew. Warner was caught in 2 minds. Didn't want to be in no man's land between Rioli and Willem Drew. And the midfielder has it 25 from home.
Good play. They're playing with pace and speed, aren't they? Every chance they get, they're trying to link up with hands and just carry the ball, gain some meterage, gain some yardage.
Willem Drew.
Playing loose, playing very loose since quarter time.
2 goals, 6 for the year. This is a tight angle as well, and that's why he's a midfielder. Started right, never a chance. Port Adelaide's lead is 10 points for Saturday night footy on ABC Sport. Aaron Bryans, Tom Wilson, Dean Brogan, Scott Thompson and Braden Ingram with you on the bound.
Yeah, the Dockers have made their sub. Nat Fyfe is into the game for his 5th match of the season, and it's Isaiah Dudley who's had just the 2 touches who's been subbed out.
Kick from defence from that score gathered by Amos. Off to O'Meara to Sarong. He just kicked blindly. There was no one really there. Darcy Byrne-Jones was the only one for Port Adelaide defensive side, centre wing, members side of Adelaide Oval. His kick's a dangerous one, makes Rosie work for it. Brayshaw's chasing him, but he had Zirk Thatcher in support. Gets the handball off. His kick is good to Sin, defensive side of centre wing. So Port Adelaide leading by 10 points into time on in the third quarter. Sin on the left boot. Up towards right half forward. Flying was Lukosius, and he flew over the top to punch that out over the boundary line, and we'll have it thrown about 80 metres around from the power goal. 11-8-74, Fremantle 9-10-64 in this third term.
Really even battle all over the field right now. Port Adelaide are playing with a bit of freedom with their offensive ball movement, but Freo have since matched that in the last 5 to 10 minutes of this quarter.
Tossed in. Darcy entangled with Sweet. Ball hits the deck. Ricochets off the bootlaces of Rosie. Tracking was Brayshaw. Byrne-Jones came in and turned the body. Brayshaw's gone down. Late whistle. It will come back, and Brayshaw thankfully has popped back up. And will be given the free kick. It was very, very late and almost reactionary to how Brayshaw collapsed. But Byrne-Jones did elect to bump there rather than go for the footy. He did go low.
Tough one, that one, isn't it? But
you've got to get your fingertips on it, don't you, bro?
Well, and he did turn, and I call it bracing, but luckily for everybody, Brayshaw's up and had his kick. Looks like he's fine.
Will be looked at. Brayshaw up to left half forward for the Dockers, trailing by 10. Off hands front square, Erasmus screws it towards the 50. On the march was Voss. Won it down. Frederick gets it back to him. On the hunt is Byrne-Jones. He won't relent. Bolton shrugs him off. Gets the belly of the ball across the face. Lipping early was Voss. Oh, Driscoll rather. Out the back. Jackson tries to centre the kick. Read well. Getting back, Joe Berry takes the mark in defensive 50 for Port Adelaide. So Fremantle had a couple of chances on tight angles. Just couldn't hook it through. Port by 10, looking to exit.
Not a clean kick from Sin. Puts Byrne-Jones under enormous pressure, and he had to just dump it out of there. Poor kick from Sin, really. And Byrne-Jones' kick is marked by Darcy. Goes back inside the forward 50. Waiting out the back there is Jackson, playing it like a rover, kicking it across the face of goal with the snap. They can raffle it out there. Liddy dropped the mark, but had time. A balloon ball up towards Butters, it was Berry, in fact, who was tunnelled there by Ryan, wins the free kick.
A lot of momentum and not a lot of breaking time for Luke Ryan. Joe Berry thankfully pops up, links up a little 1-2 with his skipper Connor Rosie. Now Berry out to the eastern side, left half back, pinpoint pass to Farrell. 5 unanswered goals for the Blues at Docklands, by the way. Margin closing with 3 to go.
Zirk Thatcher just injured in the background. We'll get Braden Ingram on that one shortly.
Meanwhile, Farrell on the eastern side for Port. He's looking for Whitlock. Off hands, it rolls over in front of the Bashir stand. Braden Ingram downstairs.
Yeah, Tom, he's trying to run/limp off a leg issue. He's waved the doctors away for now, but with Aliir also battling through that knee concern, it really is the walking wounded down in that power defence. Zirk Thatcher really trying to stretch it out still, so still one to watch.
Boundary throw in centre wing, outer side of the ground. Rosie soccers it towards the boundary line, but Brayshaw was there. Back to Erasmus, who snaps it around his body. Aliir marks it in front of Jackson on the chest. Left half back for the power. So they lead by 10 points. Bit of an arm wrestle in the last 5 minutes or so. Aliir goes long, 2-on-2 down the line. Whitlock stayed down. Sweet went up. Berry lays a tackle on Erasmus. His handball was clean to Clark. That handball to Fife wasn't clean. Puts the veteran, the 2-time Brownlow medalist, under pressure. But he did well. Gets it back to Bailey Banfield, who finds Warner at right half back for the Dockers.
Ben King's got one back, so 2 minutes to go. The Suns up by 19. You think they'll just hang on, but their lead was 45 at one point. Right half back, Warner for the Dockers, down 10. Heads down the line, Bolton lost his footing and slipped up towards the logo. Picked up by Freo, shoveling handball in the direction of Reed. Overran it, Farrell picks it up to Sin. Port Adelaide now looking for the counter punch. Coming late was Lukosius, got a hand in. Boak again, just barges through a couple, gives it off towards Lukosius. Straight check side towards the 50 that O'Driscoll read well. Fremantle now have a paddock to work with. Frederick takes it on the bounce and turns. Voss down the lines alone. Here's the overlap for the Dockers. Voss leans back, sends it towards Jackson. What a kick! Aliir was tracking in front. He had to wait it over the top, and the delivery was superb.
Good transition by Freo there, but Lukosius just needed, I don't know what he was trying to do with that kick. He just needed to get it deep, if anything. If he had no options, get it deep. At least give your defenders and mids a chance to defend the ground the way they need to.
The train has just pulled Andrew Brayshaw off as well, so I wonder if that was maybe the collision early with Darcy Byrne-Jones, but Braden Ingram will track that. Meanwhile, Luke Jackson, who was the MVP in the first quarter, they need him to lift now. We'll start at 45. Man on the mark, 20 from home. Jackson looks straight line and curved late. Minor score to the right. Port by 9. Braden Ingram downstairs.
Yes, the doc is chatting to Brayshaw right now, so going through a little bit of a test. We'll see if it's something more sinister than that. He definitely is checking out his cheek at the moment, and Zerk Thatcher has also come off the ground with that leg issue.
Walking wounded, and Liddy's kick has found Boak, who took a great contested mark. It's a dangerous switching ball, though, to Lord. Did well at centre-half back. The forward turn backman. His kick is a risky one towards Liddy. Well read there by Erasmus, who takes the intercept mark centre wing. Short to O'Meara, barely the 15. Asked to play on by the umpire. Goes towards the 50 now, up towards Voss, fisted away by Rosie, hoping that gets towards the boundary line and out, and it does. Jackson takes it over in front of the scoreboard, and we'll have a throw in. Port leader by 9 points late in this third quarter. Been an arm wrestle, that's for sure. Port, though, 3 goals to 2 in this term, and they stay in front.
Freo won't care about the margin, they just need to get the job done, and they'll be in the top 4. Lose and they risk dropping out over the next few weeks. Off the boundary throw in, Erasmus gathers, got it to Bolton, slick. He turned away from trouble, tight angle, misses to the right. Shea Bolton, 2 goals early, hasn't fired a shot since. Port's lead down to 8, closing in on 3-quarter time on ABC Sport.
They've just been sloppy in front of them. That was a pretty tough shot, but by Bolton standards, you know, he kicks them. Jackson's missed shot on goal, the out of bounds on the full. They're just really sloppy in front of goal tonight, and unfortunately, it's let Port in. It could cost them.
They've had quite a few that have just not registered as well, Brokes. Just those snap kicks across goal.
And normally Fremantle are very good in front of goal. It's not their Achilles heel at all, is their goal kicking. They're a very strong team in goal kicking, but tonight they've really let themselves down, which could come back to bite them.
So the ball was at full back. Into the right back pocket, back to full back, into the right back pocket, now to Travis Boak. You can hear those cheers. It's risky enough to Butters. And bit late there by Nat Fyfe, and he's been pinged. They have been hot on it, and Butters has played on before he's run out the 50. Goes to Boak, centre wing, finds Lukosius, 55 metres out. Oh, has he hurt himself? He had options. I think he's coming off. Boak's kicked up towards, sweet in the forward pocket, punched away. He's keeping it in. He knocked it into the leg of Cox, and Lukosius is walking towards the boundary towards Braden Ingram.
Yeah, he's just come back from a calf issue, guys, and it looks to be the exact same thing. He's put his hands up and he's got his head in his hands. He can't believe it.
It's been a horrible run for Jack Lukosius in his first season in the Teal. Fractured kneecap, back issue, calf, and now he's done it again. Tossed in. Dockers get the exit. Quick kick. That'll take us to 3-quarter time. Jack Lukosius cost the Power Dan Houston in a first-round pick. And he's barely been on the park. His 7th game this season looks like it might end in injury. Christian Murray's the sub, yet to be activated, but Lukosius hobbles his way off the ground. A little pat on the back. The head of football, Chris Davies. His teammates getting around him, but Christian Murray has sensed the occasion and is immediately warming up. Port Adelaide by 8 at 3-quarter time. It's a big game for the Dockers. They started hot and heavy, up 25 at quarter time, but since then Port Adelaide have been on a rampage. So 2 points their lead at half time, and now 8 at 3-quarter time. 11-8-74 to the Dockers, 9-12-66. Goal scorers 2 to Lukosius and Georgiades and McEntee. Singles to Rosie, Berry, with Rioli, Aliir and Richards. Meanwhile for the Dockers, 2 to Bolton, Reid and Tracy. And individuals to Sarong, to Voss and Frederick, and it's full-time at the Docklands as well. So Gold Coast do get the job done against Carlton, surviving a late scare when the Blues kicked 5 unanswered goals to start the final term. Their 45-point lead dwindled down to a 19-point win. 13-15-93 to the Blues, 11-8-74. So in the end, 6 goals for Ben King, and Matt Rowell had 30 touches. Live ladder has Gold Coast in 5th, trailing Brisbane by 2 points as a result of the draw the Lions had earlier in the year. But still means that Fremantle can jump into 4th with a win tonight. They're currently 7th, trailing by 8 points over Port Adelaide. The final quarter coming your way. It feels like a grandstand finish on ABC Radio, Sport Digital and the ABC Listen app. This is Saturday Night Footy on ABC Sport.
Your work is sensational.
It's not okay to have a crush on your agent, is it?
Michael Theo returns in the heartwarming new season of Austin.
I'm not going to let fame change me.
Sunday nights on ABC TV and ABC iView.
This is the 2025 AFL Premiership season on ABC Sport.
Clark kicks it out from full back to centre half forward. A dangerous ball. McEntee roves. Lukosius sat under it. It was great. Roved here by Butters. It was Berry. He shoots. He goes on the left foot. Jed McEntee, 35 metres out. Set sail for home. He knew straight away. He's got 2, Jed McEntee.
Young Murphy Reid. 4 goals and 2 votes in the ABC Sport Footballer of the Year in round 11. He gets very close to the man on the mark. Doesn't hurt his chances at all. Pure skill from Murphy Reid.
It's his 4th touch of the quarter, leading all comers here, Lukosius. He's got 1 goal for the night. It was an absolute ripper from the pocket, a check side. This is your regulation. Drop punt straight through the middle. And a response, the power. Bounce back. Going to go inside the forward 50, up towards Jackson. Aaliyah gets a fist in there. Roved by Murphy Reid, a dribbling goal!
What a goal.
That was special for Murphy Reid. He's got 2 for the quarter. And that's going to be a contender for goal of the year.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the AFL.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Hoodoos are a funny thing in sport. Fremantle have never beaten Port Adelaide at the Adelaide Oval, and weirdly enough, the Power are right in this contest. Fremantle playing for a spot in the top 4 after Brisbane lost earlier today. And they started pretty good, faded away after quarter time, and we've got a cracking finish on our hands on ABC Sport. The Power by 8 heading into the final change. Aaron Bryans and Tom Wilson with you, alongside All-Australian midfielder, 300-game pro Scott Thompson, and showdown medalist, Premiership ruckman Dean Brogan. How is this going to finish, guys?
Well, early in that 3rd quarter, it looked like Port were going to really get on top and start to dominate the game. But Fremantle, from about midway through the 2nd quarter, started to steady the ship and got a lot of the numbers back on their terms. So across the course of that 3rd quarter, it was reasonably even. We certainly have a game of footy on our hands now, Brogues. The challenge for Port Adelaide is they've been very good now for a half of footy. I want to know why they haven't been able to produce this effort and attitude and intent in the contest throughout the course of this season consistently. Have they got the ability to do it for 30 more minutes of footy and really put Fremantle on the back foot as far as their top 4 aspirations for this season?
Well, for Fremantle, your season's on the line. Really, if they lose this, like we just spoke about, they could be 8th by the end of the weekend.
And they finished with Brisbane in Perth next week and the Bulldogs in Melbourne the following week.
Just an insane run home. They have to win this game. Port Adelaide, I don't know this stat, but I'm taking a guess. I think they've only run 2 last quarters this year, if that. I know it was only 1 at one stage not that long ago. They are a horrible 4th quarter team. If you're Fremantle, you've got to do what Port Adelaide doing. You've got to run, attack. You've got to take the game on. You've got to play with a bit of flair and a bit of dare and put Port Adelaide, ask a question of Port Adelaide, can you go with us this quarter? Because the stats say they can't. But if you're Fremantle, if you're going to show anything, it's got to be this quarter. Otherwise, the next 2 weeks, if you don't win one of those, you're out. You're not going to play finals. This is everything for Fremantle Football Club.
So Lukosius out of the front half now for the last quarter. Can you see him running the game out, Port Adelaide?
Well, there's a couple of sore bodies out there, but you would think you're up at 3/4 time. You've had one of the worst seasons under Ken Hinkley. Travis spoke, 3 games left. You've got to find something. You know, it doesn't matter how many you're down. You've got 30 minutes of game time to have a really unbelievable, one of your best wins for the season. Like, dig in. Got to find it, Tomo. You've got to find it.
Let's get a quick update on Jack Lukosius with Braden Ingram.
Yeah, plenty of his teammates got around him. He's got the jacket on. He's out of the game. Christian Moraes has come in. Brandon Zerk-Thatcher and Andrew Brayshaw back on the ground after their respective injury concerns approaching three-quarter time.
And Nat Fyfe out there for Isaiah Dudley, who was the tactical sub for the Dockers. Port by 8. It is a sliding doors moment for Fremantle. Win in their 4th, lose in their likely 8th with a tough fortnight to come. Out of the middle, Darcy down to Fyfe, gets it back to the big man. He jams it to the 50 and Bolton on the charge marks. Just outside the paint, though the umpire will force the man just behind it.
Well, the way everyone's kicked to this end tonight, he would get nowhere near it. Every player has pulled up short when they're kicking from about this distance tonight, even last week.
Short approach as well from Shea Bolton. Arcs late. Builds some momentum. Powerful kick. Wide right and out on the full. Free kick, Port Adelaide, left back pocket. Braden Ingram downstairs.
It was a long address from Ken Hinkley at three-quarter time. He's held his troops for more than a minute, more than the Fremantle side. It was the third last time he'll address his side at three-quarter time. You wonder whether it was one of those special rev-up speeches he's known for.
Aliir brings it out. McEntee quick around the body. Ends up with Clark, who gets it to Chapman at centre wing. Kicks up towards centre half forward. Forced under it was Frederick. Roved by Darcy Burn-Jones. Back to Mead. He's made some poor decisions in defence tonight. Gets a handball away to Burn-Jones. All the way back to Zerk-Thatcher. To Aliir in the right back pocket. And he goes short. He finds a teammate in Lorenz.
Pretty good night so far for Will Lorenz. This will be his 13th touch in his 7th game. He heads up towards the eastern side. 3-on-3. Georgiades looks for the sit. Fist came through from Cox. Down towards Fyfe. The dual Brownlow medalist uses Tracy. He breaks through Rosie. Kicks up towards the 50. Tracy targets Jackson. He was caught behind Aliir. Saw it coming a mile away. Takes the intercept mark. Looks for the switch. The cheers for Boak. Don't even need to call his name anymore. The crowd's doing it for us. Here's Sweet. A ruckman around the body.
That was lazy.
Very casual, and he's kicked it out on the full. Free kick, Fremantle. Braden Ingram downstairs.
Don't be surprised if you just see a little bit of slippery footy. We are seeing a small shower just impact the ground as we speak.
So Sarong plays on from the out of bounds on the full. Kicks inside the forward 50 and Burn-Jones. Too good there for Shea Bolton. Read it best. Important intercept mark. Left back pocket for Port Adelaide. Flat ball looking for Drew. One-on-one with Sarong, who worked him under it. But Drew gathered the footy. His handball missed Whitlock. Went to Darcy. Nice handball change. Sarong, O'Meara. Inside the forward 50. Amos and Aliir. They came together. And Zerk-Thatcher ended up with the footy. Out to Lorenz in the back pocket. Just directing traffic. Zach's same spot as he was before. Port Adelaide still leading it by that three-quarter time margin of 8 points.
Short pass, still in defensive 50. Forward to Richards. Fremantle's got a good zone ahead on the eastern side. Richards will look across the defensive 50 to Aliir and now up to centre half back. Presenting and rewarded was Farrell, and that lethal left. The penetration off a step is tremendous in the direction of Boak, who kept his feet up against O'Meara. Boak goes for a march to the 50, spots the target. Whitlock couldn't take it. Rioli bounces and strikes at the top of the goal square. Port up by 14. Fremantle fans, their anxieties through the roof.
Well done, Kane Farrell. That ability, and that's what you want to see Port Adelaide do. That's what they did through quarters 2 and 3. They backed themselves in to run and take the game on. They got hemmed in their back half for a good 5-minute period there. But Kane Farrell's ability, we know he's a beautiful left foot kicker of the football, but his ability to take the game on and get the ball out to a breaking Travis Boak in the front half of the ground there, drew a free kick, and then to get it out the back again. That's the Port Adelaide football we need to see in this fourth quarter if they're going to continue the way they're going.
Rioli has 2. Port 12-8-80 to Fremantle's 9-12-66. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
Young fella almost had his first shot on goal in the goal square, and Rioli's played on and kicked the goal. Didn't follow the script, did he? You'd be a bit flat, wouldn't you?
I was thinking I was thinking the same thing because he took a great marker, won a free kick at the top of the goal square. It would have been a soda. Back in the middle of the ground, Fife's in there, wins the clearance, pumps it inside the forward 50. They need a mark. Flying at it was Amos, knocked away by Lord. Farrell going the other way. Quick handballs out to Switkowski, to Frederick, and they get the quick response with his second. The Dockers desperately needed that. And Frederick delivers. 10-12-72, Port Adelaide 12-8-80. 5 minutes gone in this final term.
Oh, centre bounce. It's been crucial tonight, really. Whoever's won centre bounce is going inside 50 and looking really dangerous. And, if you're Port Adelaide, you just get out by 14 points and you lose a centre bounce and down they go and kick a goal, back to 8 points. But, boy, Fremantle, they're just hanging in, aren't they? Just when you think Port Adelaide are going to get away, Fremantle just have a quick answer.
Yeah, you'd love to say you're going to win every centre bounce too. That's obviously not the case. But what I've noticed tonight, and you probably think the same, is every time a team seems to come out of centre bounce, it's been uncontested, easy ball out of the middle of the ground.
Yeah, right,
so they've got time and space to execute with their decision-making.
It's a golden rule. Don't let teams out the front of centre bounce. Should always keep a sweeper so they have to go either backwards or sideways.
Thoughts of Dean Brogan and Scott Thompson on ABC Sport. Port by 8. The umpire's gone down. Whistle by the non-controlling umpire. Lenny T, who was all the way at right half forward for the Dockers, has spotted a free kick going Sean Darcy's way. Jordan Sweet, the offender, and the ruckman goes for a trot.
Oh.
Kick was a bit awkward up towards the arc. Frederick came late, tried to collect Lorenz. He did well. Gathered at his feet, handed it to Rosie, and the youngster gets it back. Arcs inboard. The kick on the 45 to Butters. Straight down the line he goes. Drew forward to the logo. Port with possession, up by 8. Willem Drew heads wide. Close to the Odie stand. Here's Zach Butters. Disposal 25 after just the 10 last week. Heads towards the 50. Sweet standing in the hole. Coming together, Whitlock. Georgiades. Banfield's in there as well. Pearce gets a handball out. Ryan looks for an exit. Out towards the square. Fist came across from Amos. Fremantle now on the charge. Tracy out to Fife through the eastern side. Frederick's got the overlap if he turns and spots the target. Racing into space is Voss. He's all alone and takes the mark. 20 from home. Turnover footy at its finest. Fremantle's about to make this a very close game.
Well, it was just a hat kick out, wasn't it, by Fremantle? But they just took off. They just backed themselves in. They were going to win that contest at half back, and they did. And Fife saw Frederick, and Voss just bolted straight to the goal square and got an easy one in the end, and shouldn't miss this.
45-degree angle to the left. Man on the mark, 20 from home. Patrick Voss comes in and gets his second. No lip or banter this time. The Dockers are switched on. They need that top 4 spot. They need this win. And they're down 2 points with 14 to go. 12-8-80 Port Adelaide. Fremantle 11-12-78. Saturday footy on ABC Sport.
There was nothing pretty about that bit of play there, Brogues. Luke Ryan under the pump, so good forward pressure from Port Adelaide. A high exit out of D50, but just Freo's ability to halve that aerial ball and then win it at ground level, and then off they went. And that's where they've gotten Port Adelaide all night back towards goal, is their ability to break hard and get in behind their defenders.
Geez, Fife's been pretty handy since he's come on. He's pretty good sub, isn't he?
Some really important touches.
So 5 touches to Nat Fife. Subbed out was Isaiah Dudley. That was tactical, but for Port Adelaide, injury to Jack Lukosius, who's redone his calf. He had kicked 2 goals on the night, certainly making his presence felt. Port Adelaide by 2 points. Back in the ruck contest, Sweet knocks it down to Butters. Inboard to Drew, gets it back to Sweet. Now Wines has some space near the centre circle, kicks up towards centre half forward. Richards v Warner. Banfield took on 2 tackles. His handball went straight to Lorenz, to Wines, who looks for Georgiades, flying. Good spoil from Warner, rode by Rioli. Richards on the left, centering ball. There's not really anyone there, though, for Port Adelaide. The numbers favour the Dockers, and O'Meara takes the intercept mark.
Port by 2. Amos now has it in the left back pocket. Looking for Chapman.
Got on the full.
I think it's bounced off his shoe, as Scott Thompson called. A little bit low. He wasn't really expecting it to fade as much. Didn't get low enough, and it's bounced over into the Wanganeen stand. So free kick, Port Adelaide. Darcy Byrne-Jones spots Georgiades, who's all alone near the light tower. Just got some space. Brennan Cox, confused, has no idea how that happened, and Mitch Georgiades now will get a set shot on the tight angle.
He don't mind him from here either, Mitch Georgiades. Seen him kick some ripping goals from this pocket. Wouldn't put this past him, but geez, that was poor defending by Fremantle. That was an uncontested mark, basically. Poor defence.
Mitch Georgiades on the fence at right half forward. He's had a tremendous season. This would be an unbelievable highlight. Couple of steps, tight angle, can't thread the needle. Through for a minor score on the left-hand side. They might just quickly check if it actually hit the behind post off hands. It is going to be out of the full, so it did hit the behind post untouched. Free kick, Jordan Clark. Fremantle trail by 2. Still 13 to play on ABC Sport.
Clark brings it in from the right back pocket. Wines was the only one that jumped at it, so he was the only one that could take the mark, and he did. Just his boots just come off, so just told the umpire that he needs to readjust it. He's got it 65 metres from goal. The Dockers defenders have worked their way back, so he kicks up towards the pocket. Flying was Georgiades, goes out the back. Roving was Berry, but he couldn't keep it inside the line, so we'll have a boundary throw in. 30 metres around from Port's goal in the left forward pocket. They still lead. They're 12-8-80. Fremantle 11-12-78. We've got 11 minutes gone so far in this final term.
They'd be happy with this Port Adelaide. Having the ball locked in their forward 50 just to put pressure on the Freo backs.
Tossed in, sweet down. He's looking for Berry, overran it. Erasmus for the Dockers hands it to O'Meara. Now Chapman looks to the broadcast wing. 3-on-3. Aaliyah brought it down. Lord got a handball out to Wines. Time to compose himself. Screw it into the 50 to Jordan Sweet. The ruckman, easy to spot amongst a flurry of bodies. Just look for the head. He takes it 30 from home. Slight angle to the left.
That's a great kick by Ollie Wines. He's actually been really solid for Port Adelaide this year. I think he's been a really solid contributor. He's been really good tonight. He's had 20 possessions, 12 contested possessions, clearances, and that was a really good kick. Lowered his eyes, found the big fella.
Can hit the scoreboard, Jordan Sweet. 4 goals this season. Big moment for Fremantle. Sweet crosses the paint of 50 and sprays it. Very close to the man on the mark, and he's kicked it out of the full. And Fremantle now trail by 2. Saturday night footy on ABC Sport.
It's back-to-back out in the fulls for Port Adelaide. One from Georgiades, the other from Sweet just there. So kicks down the line, nursed under it was Tracy. Roving again was Wines. He is having a good game. Sin took on the tackle of Erasmus. Play on, says the umpire. Scooting through was Lorenz, but Tracy was so clean to Erasmus, and Zerk Thatcher's pulled Voss off the footy. So Voss will win the free kick. Just forward of centre wing in front of the interchange gates. Feeling like a big moment's coming here in this match. Voss plays on now. Inside that forward 50. Amos was there. Aaliyah got the spoil, and Switkowski with the rove. And a big tackle from Aaliyah. His second effort was great, and we'll have a ball up 35 metres out from the Freo goal away to the right.
Been good, Aaliyah. He's basically playing on one leg. He's been one of Port's best.
Quick reset, tap down straight to Butters. Dummied his way past a couple and gets it wide to Sin. Off balance, rushed his kick. Straight down the throat of Luke Ryan. Fremantle now looking to bounce. Clark got it wide. And now Warner towards the 50. A rise from Jackson just slipped out of his mitts. Whitlock tried to sell some candy. Switkowski wasn't buying. Tackle, turnover. Voss loses his footing in the pocket. Shoots the handball back to Switkowski. Tried to curl it from 20 and's missed. A desperate diving spear from Willem Drew to impact the shot. And Port's lead is a solitary point.
Lucky there for Port Adelaide. They've had some opportunities, Port, but their execution has really let them down in recent minutes.
That Sin kick was poor out of defence. They had some run there. Farrell from fullback to Liddy. Right back pocket. Chips over the top to Butters, who never stops working. Possession number 5 this quarter at right half back. Kicks up towards the wing. Dangerous ball. Sarong just leapt over the top of Brandon Zerk-Thatcher. It's going back inside the forward 50. Farrell gets a fist in there. Amos gathers. Didn't really want to keep it in. He's happy with a forward stoppage there. So we'll have a throw in left forward pocket. Fremantle trail by a point. Braden Ingram.
Yeah, Josh Sin has limped to the power bench again, so he's on the bike trying to work through that leg issue, but you combine it with Aaliyah and Zerk-Thatcher, that defence is very much walking wounded now.
Port by a point, tossed in. Fremantle's 50. Jackson down to Frederick. Erasmus from 45. Went for home. Got an up and under. Voss is trying to track it back with the flight. How has he done that? He juggled it against Aaliyah and the mark hasn't been paid. Tackle towards the boundary line. It'll be tossed in. Patrick Voss did absolutely everything he could.
Oh, that was a mark, wasn't it?
It looked to be.
Quick reset in the pocket. 15 from home for the Dockers. And in traffic, Lorenz has tumbled a kick straight to Erasmus. Tackled by Rosie. It's a hot footy. Lorenz goes again. Spun in the washing machine by Sarong. Ball up to come.
What a huge 10 minutes, 9 minutes for Fremantle right here, right now. The game is on the line. Your season is in the balance, Fremantle. Over to you.
Boundary throw in, or a ball up, I should say. Sarong overran it. Ended up with Wines. His handball was too hot for Butters. Fife threw that one forward. So did Clark. Gets it inside the forward 50. Brayshaw took on the tackle. Got it to Reed. Voss for goal. Number 3. And he smashes it through. And he tells the fans to be quiet. Whoa! The pantomime.
Has he gone too early, boys? Has he gone too early?
What a goal, though.
A great goal.
That's an unbelievable one step.
Shush, says Voss. He wasn't quiet when he was berating the umpire when he took that mark earlier. But he really has stepped up when it's counted. And Fremantle are back in front. We haven't seen them in front not since the first quarter. Well, it was during the second quarter, but Port Adelaide took the front from there. And they're back in front halfway through this last term. 12-13-85, Port 12-8-80.
Well done, Freo, to bring a little bit of forward half pressure, but Port Adelaide's execution has been sloppy for the last 5 minutes. Even then, that handball coming out, I think it was Wines on that occasion, a heavy handball to Butters, which forced a turnover and allowed Freo to go back inside forward 50. Play unfolds, and obviously maybe a bit of reward for the mark that wasn't paid a moment earlier, and a great finish from Voss. And a little bit of crowd interaction, which is always nice. I just hope he hasn't gone too early for his sake.
Fourth lead change of the night, and he waved the Power fans goodbye, and there's still 9 minutes to go. Patrick Voss. Fremantle fans won't be happy if this goes haywire. 5 points the lead, and a stray bounce will be recalled. Here we go, Jackson and Sweet. Sweet with the fist, straight to Sarong though. Drew was right next to him. Pressured kick, bounces towards the broadcast wing. Lorenz was there, handball to Butters. He tried a bit of tunnel ball, but O'Driscoll was right behind him. Freo with the footy, a handball to Brayshaw, up towards the 50. Voss is there, Aaliyah's all over him, and he still takes the mark. Just outside the 50. Voss spots a target, off a step, tried to place it to Tracy. Burn-Jones cut across. Here come Port Adelaide now off half-back.
Rosie at centre half-back. Got some run from Zerk-Thatcher, the big defender. Goes to Georgiades on the centre wing, outer side of the ground. It's great for footy, these players like Patrick Voss, getting the crowd involved. They've seen a great show tonight. Georgiades down the line looking for Whitlock. Ball hits the deck. Pearce and Warner work together. Handballed over the top from Chapman. Puts his teammate under pressure. Holding the ball.
Well done, Ollie Wines.
The Brownlow medalist laid the tackle on Bailey Banfield. At right half forward. Gets it to Georgiades. 55 metres from goal. What a Port have left in the tank. Came back from 25 points down at quarter time, have led almost the whole way since. Inside the forward 50, Rioli's mark attempt was fisted away by Warner. Banfield spun around, got the kick clear for the moment. Quick hands from Port Adelaide to Drew. Tried to go the soccer off the ground in Wines. Under pressure in defence is Fremantle. The quick kick out goes to Darcy Byrne-Jones, but there was no one there for Port. And Jackson takes the mark at fullback for Fremantle.
Freo by 5. Win and they're in the top 4. Lose and they're likely 8th, with Brisbane and the Dogs to come. They move it to Pearce at right half back. Central kick. Back through defensive 50. Luke Ryan. The dual Australian continues to do a bit of kick mark. Uses Chapman, who then dishes it off to Erasmus and gets it back. Chapman up to right half forward. The strength of Amos as he brushes off Aaliyah. Voss and Zerk-Thatcher collapsed, and Amos did a 5-star frog splash on top of him. Zerk-Thatcher now needs the trainers, and rightfully so. When you've got all 196 centimetres of Jai Amos land flat on top of you. Fremantle with the footy at right half forward. Crowd incensed. Amos. Again, a couple of steps. Very casual. Wines was waiting for it. 20 from home. Got a hand in. And Switkowski paddles it off the ground over the boundary line. It'll be tossed in. Fremantle's 50. Currently up by 5. 30,390 in attendance tonight.
I think 5,000 of them came through the second quarter. Port Adelaide came back. It was pretty dire early on. Boundary throw in. Freo by 5 points. Farrell was tackled by Bolton. Quick hands from Sweet. Lorenz's quick kick. Not the required journey. So Erasmus, they've not paid the mark. Ball up. They might have torn the roof off, or the roofs off the stands if they paid that mark. So we've got a ball up, right half forward. Erasmus has got again. Clean hands to Jackson, who's bumped off it by Farrell. He's still kicked a dangerous ball, not the required journey. And Liddy had his lid ripped off. And he wins a free kick. And plays on quickly to the outer side of the ground, looking for Travis Boak, who takes the mark. He didn't take the mark. He dropped it at the last moment. Banfield got a hand in there. Ball goes back inside the forward 50 for Fremantle. The players are roving. It was O'Driscoll. Handballs it off. Centre half forward. Banfield gets the handball away to Clark, but it was partially smothered. Good effort, Whitlock. Farrell, can he shrug the tackle?
Great tackle.
Not quite. 360 tackle from Clark. Ball in dispute. Brayshaw dropped it. Play on, says the umpire. Lorenz, Clark. Clark goes inside the forward 50 to the top of the goal square. Flying was Tracy. Aaliyah gathered. Tackled by Voss. Holding the man. Free kick.
I thought he was going to play dropping the ball.
It is hot. Both teams are absolutely ripping in. Both teams want to win this badly. As we know, Fremantle going for finals, Port Adelaide just for pride, but geez, they're both having a crack at the moment.
Aaliyah to Farrell, long down the broadcast wing. Freo by 5, Port on the charge, hit the deck. Pearce gathered, under pressure, did well. Hands it to Brayshaw, full stride. O'Meara up to half forward, back with the flight. Amazing work there from Mead, ducking in front of Murphy Reid.
What a moment. Might not be your night, but geez, you can have a big moment. Well done, Mead.
Kick was tough for both, but he made it look good. Game 385. Releases Berry blazing by. Sweet towards the 50. Kick was under duress. Awkward bounce. Bit of off spin. Ryan now had to shepherd. Freed up Sarong. Fremantle have the numbers. He spots Erasmus.
They're out on their feet, Port
Adelaide. And 50. Boat came late. It was too close to him.
That hurts. Poor old Whitlock looks like he's running in the mud at the moment.
He's in cement boots, isn't he? The young fella.
Erasmus plays on. O'Driscoll's all alone at right half forward. Port have switched off. Freo by 5. Great to have you with us here at the Adelaide Oval. Fremantle's about to head inside 50. They lead by 5. O'Driscoll looking for Tracy, knocked away. Mead now the clearing kick for Port. Sitting underneath it is Brayshaw, knocked away. Pearce hands it across. Chapman, 45 out. Switkowski trying to barge through Butters, can't break free. Pearce now set upon. Ball up to come, 40 from home. Freo playing for a top 4 spot. If they lose, they'll likely be 8th with the Lions and the Dogs to come. They were up 25 at quarter time. Port goalless at that point, and they've been hot ever since. The momentum of the home side has Fremantle's legs wobbling. Out of the stoppage, Sin hands it off to Butters. Fumbled, Switkowski in. Dove on top of by Sin rather. Moraes tries to extract it. Sin gets through, hands it to Richards at left half back, but no one's ahead. And he jammed the kick forward, hitting in hope. Cox waited for the bounce, had the numbers if he'd committed, and instead Georgiades cuts across and knocks it over the boundary line. Aaron Bryant's Tom Wilson, All-Australian midfielder and 300-game Crow Scott Thompson, and Premiership power ruckman Dean Brogan with you for the call.
Oh, we've got a big 3 minutes. 3 minutes to go. Port Adelaide, they look out on their feet, but have they got something?
They trail by 5 points from the boundary throw-in. Fife's been great as the sub. Underground handball to Brayshaw, who got it back to O'Driscoll and took on the tackle. You cannot get past Ollie White.
He's been spectacular. Great tackle.
So Port 12-8-80, Fremantle 12-13-85. 25 minutes gone in this final term. What do they have left of power? Wines tries to set this up towards Georgiades. He gave the shove in the back. Too strong on Brayshaw, says the umpire. He marks it left half forward. Mark paid. Handballs it off to Butters. Short kick in towards Boat. He marks just outside the 50. Goes the flat ball into the pocket to the skipper. Connor Rose, he marks. He must be cramping. He's limping. 35 metres out on the paint of the boundary line in the left forward pocket.
Sure, Boki would want to watch his tape. Can he go take his retirement back? He's been unbelievable tonight, Boki. What about that kick?
That's the flattest kick I've ever seen him kick.
Unbelievable.
So Connor Rosie's cramping, but this would be a captain's goal. 35 metres out, runs around, and the captain's kicked a captain's goal to put the power back in front in the dying minutes of this final term. Port Adelaide 13-8-86, Fremantle 12-13-85. 26 minutes gone here on ABC Sport.
That was a great build-up, and Ollie Wines, take a bow. Some of your efforts throughout this last quarter, as far as tackle pressure goes, has been unbelievably elite. Set the game up, but then the composure, once they got the ball, the composure and the nous to go forward the way they did, just pick off the short one that was there and just have a nice calmness, composed build-up that allowed Rosie to have a shot on goal there was brilliant.
Braden Ingram downstairs.
Rosie had taken himself to full forward given the cramp he was experiencing. He's managed to kick the goal. He's had some pickle juice from the trainers, and now he's back in here for this centre bounce.
Jack Lacoste out with the calf injury. Nat Fife activated with Isaiah Dudley, the tactical sub. It's Port by 1 point. We've had 5 lead changes tonight. The Dockers led early. Port struck back in the second and held it all the way until the 16-minute mark of this final term. And now they're back on top, playing for pride. But gee, it's a sliding doors moment for Fremantle. This could cost them their September hopes. Darcy wins it down to Sarong. Blazes out of the middle. Kick towards Tracy. Off hands 20 out. Alia's tracking. Bolton's breathing down his neck. The power defender rushes it through.
Centre bounce.
Scores are level. 2 minutes to go at the Adelaide Oval on ABC Sport.
It's just been the story of the night. When team just looks like they just can't hold a centre bounce. Both teams. When you need to lock it down in the centre bounce, Fremantle just stroll out and get it inside 50.
So Farrell plays on from the kick-in, up towards Wines. He flies against Sarong, who got the first bite of the cherry. The umpire says Sarong.
He's paid it.
Well, they didn't pay one to Patrick Voss earlier. They've paid it this time. Sarong, 80 metres from goal, plays on, kicks to the dangerous spot. He's going to have flyers at this one from the side. What a grab from Pearce. He's floated forward, the skipper. Wow. What a remarkable effort. Flying across the pack. The reverse Leo Barry.
That is a great
outstanding grab. I would love to see that Sarong mark that was paid just prior. Looked like Wines had a good chunk of that.
It did, and he was in front. Wines. Pearce from 30 metres out on a 45-degree angle. Any score will do, but that's the maximum. Pearce has pumped it through for a goal, and Fremantle are up by 6 with 45 seconds left on the clock. A win will put them into the top 4, and it was the most unlikely player. Alex Pearce gets the goal to put them in front.
Well, how big is this centre bounce? We've seen teams kick a goal and then concede a centre bounce, goes the other end. either for a goal or for an inside 50. Can Port Adelaide get a clean break at this centre bounce? They've been fantastic in here all night, but you would think Freo, with everything on the line, they will lock this centre bounce down and play back shoulder and try and lock it in.
There's something about Fremantle and final quarter comebacks. 6 points their lead. A draw will get them into the top 4 as well at the moment, just 1% ahead of Brisbane. Here we go. The crowd's restless. The state of Western Australia is anxious. Bounce in the middle. Sweet goes down. Caught one high. Free kick. Port Adelaide. Sean Darcy with a stray arm. Jordan Sweet bangs it into the 50.
Rosie.
On the march is Connor Rosie. Put it down in front position. Front and square. Unable to take it cleanly is Liddy.
He had it. He had
Fremantle swarm and we get a ball up 40 from home.
He had it.
Dockers by 6. Port's 50. Fist came from Darcy. Sarong couldn't take it. Darcy didn't know what to do. Tried the handball, threw it on the boot, straight to Liddy. Quick chip kick. Darcy backtracks, and it's paid 15.
5 metres.
Sean Darcy gets the mark in defensive 50. Sweet relief for Fremantle.
That's the game.
Darcy will launch it to the eastern side, just looking for territory. They lost it on the drop. Boak hands it to Liddy. One last roll of the dice. Liddy inside 50 and the siren beats them. A season-defining heist for Fremantle. They snatch victory from the jaws of defeat and move into the top 4 for the first time this season. Freo by 6. Fremantle burst out of the blocks, dominating Port Adelaide early. 25 points their lead at the first change. Port Adelaide goalless, but they took their foot off the gas. Port came out with urgency, snatched back the lead and held it all the way to the final stages of this contest. But Fremantle knew what was at stake, and they've moved their way into the top 4 at the Lions' expense. Fremantle September hopes are alive. And they're very lucky at the Adelaide Oval to win against the Power for the first time at this venue. 14-92 to 13-8-86. The Dockers in front of 30,390 had the state of Western Australia just a little bit stressed out. But they've got the job done. I don't think it's confidence building, but it's enough with a tough fortnight ahead. And Port Adelaide finally show the fight we've been begging for, but fall short at the final hurdle. It is great to have you with us on ABC Sport. What a tremendous finish here at the Adelaide Oval. Scott Thompson, Team Brogan, what did you make of that?
Well, Brogues, I want to know, are you convinced now on Freo? What a brilliant effort.
Not at all. Not at all.
So they basically delivered what you thought before the game, yeah?
So, yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Look, they still haven't convinced me and they're sitting 4th. But they do show some fight. Like, they crack in and they don't get blown away. Like, I don't know. They played a team that's sitting 13th that have had one of the worst years since they've been incepted in the AFL, and they couldn't put them away. But they get the win. They keep winning. And all that matters, I guess.
It was a spirited effort from Port Adelaide. And as a Port Adelaide supporter, I'd be asking the question, where's that been?
Yeah.
Like, when your last fortnight's a combined total loss of over 180 points, where has that fight been? Now, Freo, we said before the game, have got a whole lot to play for, and now they find themselves sitting inside the top 4. But in that first quarter, it was almost a case with Freo by how much. And then how quickly that turned, though. So they just took the foot off slightly and really had to grind away. So Port Adelaide, for long-term chunks of that game, through basically the whole of the second and the first part of the third, had the game on their terms and really controlled things. But that's the one thing I do like out of Freo's game tonight, is their ability, as you just touched on, their ability to scrap and get a bit ugly and dirty when they need to, just to level the score as far as contested ball goes, clearances go, and then get the game back on their terms. And from to ground out that win tonight, which we touched on before the call, they didn't have the ability to do that last year when it counted.
That's just a huge win for Freo. But they lose that, they're going to struggle to make the finals. they win that. They see, like you called, Aaron, they are sitting fourth right now.
It's an absolute turning point.
Crazy.
Their season would have been over. What it would have done just for their confidence and for the rest of the campaign to host Brisbane next week when you've lost to Port Adelaide, it would have damaged them tremendously. And now they're inside the top 4 and the world's their oyster. And they've won 5 of their last 7 after trailing at three-quarter time, Fremantle.
Wow.
It's not pretty. They just get it done. And you're right, it doesn't fill you with any confidence that they're a real premiership threat. But it doesn't matter how you win. If you just keep winning, and they've won 11 of their last 12, why not them?
Well, to a certain extent, that was Collingwood in 23, wasn't it? How many times throughout that year did they come from behind at three-quarter time and just find a way to win, and then went on to win the premiership that year? Now, I'm not suggesting for one moment that Freo are at that level, but what they are showing is they do have the ability to stay in the fight, and when it gets close, they have now got the ability to find themselves in the positive come the end of the game.
Oh, you reckon Justin Longmuir's wiping the sweat off his brow? Wowee, that's look. Well, that was a cracking game of football. Well done to both teams. That was from quarter time onwards. That was a pretty good game of football, and yeah, well done to Port Adelaide. You know, not much to play for other than pride. We questioned that at the start of the game. They showed a lot tonight. They had a real crack. Some of the younger players had a real dip. The older boys contributed. You know, Ollie Wines was fantastic. I think Ollie's had a pretty good year, to be honest. I think he's been pretty solid. Alir was fantastic. 17 marks he's taken. Boki was really good. They all played pretty well after quarter time, I thought, and they had a real crack. And they play. Port Adelaide are good to watch when their contest stuff's at a level, but then when they play with a bit of flair and quickness, like, you just wonder, like, where's that been? Like you just said, Tomo, like, it's really scratch your head sort of stuff. Is like, why after quarter time do you decide to go, we're just going to play on at all costs? So like I said, sometimes they got it wrong, but when you keep sticking to that method, you're going to get it right, and when you get it right, it looks good and gives your forwards good looks to kick goals, and it's a great brand. You know what it does? It gives you energy. When you play with chaos and a bit of flair, it gives you energy. So they broke the shackles a bit tonight, and maybe is that Carr or is that Hinkley? Is Carr saying we need to tell them to play quicker? I don't know, but
well, that's a great unknown, isn't it?
It's something that they look at and go, that's how we should play.
And the reality is, in today's game, you need to be able to score. So, Port Adelaide, your season's done. So why not have more of an emphasis on your offence and just take the game on? If it breaks down and falls apart, you've got a whole summer to correct it.
With you for the next 35 minutes, so get in touch, 0437 774 774. Fremantle have won 11 of their last 12. They've won 5 of their last 7 when trailing at three-quarter time. The Dockers move into the top 4 at the expense of the Lions, who lost to Sydney earlier. A 6-point thrilling win, a last-gasp victory here at the Adelaide Oval. Let's head into the rooms with Braden Ingram.
Yeah, they're walking tall here. There's not a huge crowd, only about half a dozen, but they're very excited, the fans that and the family members that are in here at the moment. Interestingly, Jordan Clark came in early in the hands of trainers, so one I'll monitor as the team now sidles up, and, well, as you mentioned, Aaron, it's worth repeating, they're now in the top 4, and very much a double chance, a big chance for the Dockers, who are about to belt this one out. First ever win against the Power at Adelaide Oval, and I'll have someone from the wing room shortly.
It wasn't pretty, but it certainly was purple for Fremantle. 6-point winners at the Adelaide Oval. And once again, they just pull a rabbit out of the hat, and they're right in the mix for a double chance, as Braden touched on, moving into the top 4 with the Lions and the Dogs still to come. And we mentioned it in the pre-game, but the age profile of this list will give Fremantle fans a lot of hope of what the next few years have to come, regardless of how this campaign goes, that this side is starting to really click. And once it gets some more consistency in terms of its four-quarter efforts, maybe it'll be a real powerhouse in this competition. Final score 13-14-92 to Port Adelaide's 13-8-86. For the Dockers, 2 goals to Bolton, Reid and Frederick and Tracy, 3 to Voss and 1 to Sarong and Pearce, who was the match winner. And for Port Adelaide, 2 to Rosie, Lukosius, Rioli, Georgiades, McEntee and singles to Berry, Alia and Richards. The other night game saw the Suns defeat Carlton by 19 points at the Docklands. So the live ladder as of Saturday night, with still 3 to come tomorrow, which you can hear on ABC Sport. Adelaide and Geelong 1 and 2, Collingwood and Freo 3 and 4, Brisbane, Gold Coast, Hawthorn and the Giants rounding out the 8 with the Dogs sitting in 9th. So plenty to play for, but the next few weeks are very enticing on the run home towards September. Brogues, your best mate Dean, got back in touch after he got stuck into you in the pre-game. Says, Mr. Brogan, even with 23 free kicks to 6 in the last 3 quarters, Fremantle showed you why they are a premiership chance. Playing against 24 players on the field, and maybe your Freo hero / new coach will help you next season, referring to Josh Carr.
I hope he does.
So Dean very bullish. And I'm sure a lot of Fremantle fans are about their prospects.
Oh, look, their form says everything, really. You just look at their win-loss and what they've done. What did you say, it's 11 out of their last 12?
Yep.
I mean, how can you argue with that?
It's a great
one. They're just not blowing away teams like, we watch Adelaide a lot, and we watch Geelong a lot. Fremantle just getting the job done at the moment. And, they finish in top 4 or finish 5th or 6th, they get a home final. Look, anything can happen. And the way that the top, other than probably Adelaide and Geelong, it's very even.
The thing for them now is, though, it's in their hands. So now that they've got that, they were able to get up off the canvas almost to an extent through that second and third quarter and stay in it. And then to run over the top with Alex Pearce, that captain's goal, what a great mark it was. They actually control their own destiny now. And they've got 2 big games to come, Brisbane and Western Bulldogs. They're going to be super tough opposition, but if they win them both, they control their destiny.
That's right. If they drop them both, they can still miss. They can actually still miss, because they front up against the Bulldogs in the last round. They play Brisbane. Yeah, Brisbane dropped 1 to Sydney, but Brisbane have shown that on their day they can pants anyone if they really put their foot down. So the challenge is still there with Freo. Now, they've shown they're good enough to be there, so it'd be a tragedy if they do miss, and that happens 2 years in a row where they fall out at the last trip on that last hurdle. But their destiny's in their hands now as far as where they finish on the ladder.
A lot of these teams, finals campaign starts now, doesn't it? Like, every game's a must-win. Like, you lose, you're eliminated. It's a fascinating season in this top sort of 2 to 9, isn't it? Like, we've never seen anything like it.
But even for the Crows, I understand that they're a game ahead now in top spot, but you drop a game you shouldn't, like to the Eagles tomorrow, and you lose your double chance all of a sudden. So everybody in that top 9, you're right, it's almost an elimination final every week.
Every week now, so there's some great footy to be had, and form's everything this time of year. You can't make up things right now, can you, Tomo? Like, you can maybe pull a lever here or there, but you are what you are this time of year. It's very hard to change everything and get on a roll, and they're on a winning roll. That's all you have to do is win football games. Doesn't matter how you do it, you just got to keep winning. You turn up and keep winning, and then that's what they're doing. So you can't argue with their win-loss and what they're doing over the last 11-12 weeks. It's just the eye tells you against the really good teams, they're going to have to be better
and
to beat these really good teams. And there's only a couple of them, like at the Adelaides and Geelongs and Brisbane. All roads go through Brisbane. They're the premiers. You're going to have to beat them. But they're there. They're right there. No other team's doing what they're doing with their win-loss over the last 12 weeks. So hats off to them. They deserve all the flowers they get at the moment. They're sitting 4th tonight. They're a shot just like anybody else.
And I'm sure they'd be really happy, obviously really happy and over the moon to pull that win in the end the way they did, because it looked like they were gone at one point. But what I think they will address is, so what happened from the end of the first quarter, or 3/4 way through that first quarter to the second quarter, because it was a stark contrast in their performance. Now, we address that Port Adelaide lifted their game and their intent and intensity and energy went up a couple of levels, but Freo were found wanting through that period. Port Adelaide had the game well and truly on their terms, and we're talking about a team that hasn't fired a shot this year. So the concern there is, okay, how did that happen, and why did we allow it to happen for so long and couldn't address it to get the momentum back on our terms?
That pressure factor is a huge problem for them, isn't it? And we mentioned it in the pre-game, and this only consolidated that no Hayden Young out there doesn't help with your ball use, but when the walls close in and the intensity lifts, they seem to lose contested ball pretty comfortably, and they panic a bit with their disposal, the Dockers, and that's kind of where Port Adelaide did get the advantage. That you probably argue across all three lines, they've got tremendous talent, the Dockers. You just got to be a little bit more mature.
Well, you say that, but you look at their list profile, they're actually a young team.
Yeah, a lot of them are 22.
So these are growing pains, so to speak, isn't it, really? I just think we think Freo, they've been in the competition for so long for such little success, and this group now is going through a bit of inconsistency through games, but they're getting the wins, so they keep reviewing it and get better. You get better. Then all of a sudden, whether it's this year or next year, this group, it's like going to war a bit. You've been through the trenches a lot, and that's what they're going through right now. Is they're not perfect, they're not a finished product, but they're getting the wins.
Should touch on as well, so Nat Fyfe was the sub and had 6 touches in the final quarter when he was activated. Jager Amira 26 as well, and Luke Jackson in the first quarter was tremendous with 11. So they've got alternatives to Hayden Young, who isn't the same player. Like, he's very much more of a crisp ball user, and can be a big barraging body as well. But yeah, you've got 2 pretty good bulls. One of them's an absolute giant, and the other's a veteran of the game. But there's depth there for Fremantle that maybe they didn't utilise in the early stages of the season, and now they're learning something about themselves. So maybe it's not the worst case scenario.
Yeah. Well, as we keep touching on now, they're doing a lot of things well. They've put themselves in a good position. Where they finish on the ladder now is entirely in their hands. I'd be absolutely shattered for them if they fell just short and dropped their last 2 against some quality opposition and found a way out of the 8.
Mark is a long-suffering Dockers fan on the text line and says, you guys have highlighted about where has this been in relation to Port Adelaide's effort. But last week it was Carlton attracting the same comment. And then his question mark is essentially, do Fremantle bring out the best in worse teams, and why?
Oh, look, I think that's just coincidence.
You'd hope.
It's a hard one. It's footy. It's Port Adelaide. They're a team this year, you just don't know what they're going to do and show up. And they had a couple of good ins tonight. Bokey's come out and said he's retired. So there was a bit there for Port Adelaide. But the first quarter didn't play like it. I don't know what was going on that first quarter. Fremantle were fantastic, but second quarter, I think what happened is Port threw the playbook out. It looked like they just said, boys, you're playing so tight and restricted, and you look like you don't want to be here. Just every play, every chance you get, play on. You remember those talks, Tomo, that you come in, the coach goes, "What do you like? Just play loose, play loose. Any chance you get, play on." And once they started to do that, it just opened up for them a bit for them. They just didn't play with any dare or flair or intensity, and they addressed it at quarter time, and away they went. But it's just a hard one. Like, you would think that's an easy game plan to replicate.
Well, why wouldn't you do that? Your season's done. So why would? And as we touched on before, like, train your offense. You need to be able to score, and if you stuff it up, what's the consequences? You finish one spot lower on the ladder when your season's already buggered,
or you lose by 10 goals. Who cares?
That's exactly right. But have a crack doing it, because the last fortnight, or their whole season, but especially the last fortnight where they've had some really big and heavy, ugly losses as a group, that hasn't worked either. So take the game on for the last few rounds again, and if you lose, but at least go down trying.
And they definitely don't fear Fremantle, because they've beaten Fremantle over the last
7-0.
Yeah, and Fremantle haven't won here against Port Adelaide, have they?
Until tonight.
Until tonight. So there's something there as well. But it's an interesting one. I mean, you're looking at Port Adelaide at 13th, and probably on paper they're a bit better than that. Like, if you look at it, but the season just hasn't gone their way.
When they're healthy.
When they're healthy. So no, it's just a one of those games where a team was fighting for a final spot, and the team had not much to play for, but they came out with a bit of intensity and ended up being a cracking game.
So speaking of, Freo up by 25 at quarter time, Port Adelaide goalless, and Ken Hinkley gets around the boys and rallies them, and they come back with an 8-3 second term. Port takes the lead. We'll hear some reaction in the rooms of Braden Ingram in a moment's time, but Alex Pearce did speak to the host broadcaster and said that Justin Longmuir gave them a huge spray at half-time, so I'd be interested to see how that went. But that certainly revved the Dockers back into gear in that third quarter, and it became a seesawing affair up until the finish. Let's find out how they are feeling. Fremantle by 6 here at the Adelaide Oval. Braden Ingram's downstairs.
The rooms have swelled with plenty of delighted family, and the players very much so among them. Luke Jackson is one of them. 23 touches. Luke, how did you find a way out of the end of that game? It felt like it was a real cage fight. What got you over the line?
Yeah, it was. It was definitely a cage fight. We knew coming to Adelaide Port Adelaide's home crowd. It was going to be hostile territory, and they brought it all night. I thought we brought it in the first quarter really good, but let it slip away a bit, and really happy with how we fought it out.
The skipper, he ends up kicking what's the match-winning goal. I'm sure you probably got that many superlatives for him, but how did he lift you there at the end?
Yeah, he always finds a way to lift the group loose. He's a great captain, obviously, but really shows it in his actions out there. And I love playing under Moose. He's a great leader, and we definitely walk taller when he's playing with us.
An up and down game for the side. You started with an absolute burst, and then it sort of all went to water in the second term. So what happened there? And did Justin Longmuir have some pretty strong words for you at half time?
Yeah, he did. He gave us a bit of a spray, but we started really good. We felt like we were on top, and we kind of just let him back in with maybe a bit of lack of effort, and we knew they were going to come hard. We didn't know when that was going to be, but pretty disappointing. We let them back in, and something we've got to keep working on.
In terms of what this has done for you, you now sit in the top four. Had you lost, you could have been in eighth at the end of the round. Are the guys aware of just how big this win was?
Yeah, we are. It was we set ourselves to win this game, and it was always going to be hard going on the road against Port with their home crowd, and definitely one we feel like we needed it and can hold us in good stead going forward.
Throw it to the boys upstairs.
Luke, well done on your performance, mate. Scott Thompson speaking. I thought you really laid the foundation with the way you started the game, and early in that first quarter it felt like a case of Freo by how far, and after quarter time, obviously the scoreboard started to shift and Port Adelaide got on top in contested ball and around the clearances and were able to play a front half game. No doubt the coach gave you a fair bake at half time, and it was a bit of an arm wrestle after that. But, mate, talk us through the team belief now. So you've won 11 of your last 12, and in 7 of your last wins, 5 of them have come from behind at three-quarter time. So as a group, you must have great internal belief.
Yeah, we do. We have great belief within the playing group, and we feel really connected at the moment. It's something we've been working on for many pre-seasons now, our connection. So last year we couldn't seem to get in front and win those tight games, but now that we're winning 4 or 5 tight ones, it's you probably don't want to be in those games too much, but it gives us a lot of confidence heading into the big games, and we would like to blow teams out and keep the lead, but I think it's a good sign of maturity the way we're playing.
Good man. Now, talk us through your game, mate. So tonight we found yourself in the ruck playing as a genuine mid. You slot yourself forward. Where do you enjoy playing the most, and where do you think you get best bang for buck with your own performance?
Yeah, it's been a good year. I've been really working through the 3 different roles, forward, ruck and mid, and I just want to keep working on my game. I feel like I can impact the game in all areas, and I feel like it can be a real good dynamic for our team. So I'm working closely with guys like Joel Corey to build my inside mid stuff, and feel like the ruck stuff comes pretty natural, but and the forward stuff as well. But I just want to keep working on the mid stuff, because I feel like it can be a real weapon for me going forward.
Luke, Dean Brogan here, mate. Congratulations on a really fantastic win. Great game of football by both sides. Do you feel you guys are getting enough attention? Like, you're sitting 4th tonight. You've won 11 out of your last 12. Do you feel like you guys are a chance, just like everybody else, to win the flag this year, or at least go deep in the finals?
Yeah, as I was saying before, we got massive belief at the moment, and it's not something that just popped up. We've been working on our connection as a group for a pretty long time now, and it's good to see us winning those tight games, and every opposition is hard. It doesn't matter where they are on the ladder. So we got the utmost belief that we can match with anyone, and we just want to keep building momentum in the finals, hopefully, and it's kind of anything can happen, so with any team, so we just want to keep the belief going.
Were you surprised a little bit tonight, Port Adelaide? Look, they looked gone at quarter time, and if you guys had kicked a little bit straighter, you could have been up by 7 or 8 goals, but were you surprised at how they fired a shot after quarter time? They really came at you in the second quarter. Then all of a sudden they hit the front, and they showed a bit of ticker tonight. Was that something that you're a little bit surprised that they showed when they don't have a lot to play for?
No, I wasn't surprised personally. They got stars like on every line, Georgiades, and Butters and Rosie. So yeah, we knew they were going to throw a punch. We just didn't know when it was going to be. And yeah, I'm glad we started the game really well, because there's a few times this year where we haven't started well at all. So we're just got to keep working on how we can maintain leads. And yeah, they're a great side, Port. So yeah, I think it was a good game of football in the end.
Luke Jackson with us on ABC Sport after Freo's 6-point win over Port Adelaide. Luke, it's Aaron Bryans here. Got to ask you about Patrick Voss. He's a bit of a stirrer, he's a great character, but he was getting stuck in across the entire night. What's he like as a person?
Yeah, he's a ripper, Vossy. Yeah, I just love playing with him. He brings so much energy. Yeah, and just the way he plays is a real barometer for us. And off the field, he works so hard on his game as well. Like going back to last year, he's improved so much. So yeah, he's a real weapon for us down there. And he, when he starts the game like that, it really sets the tone.
His first goal comes at the back end of the second quarter when you were trailing at that point, snatched the lead back, and he gets right into Mitch Georgiades' face, and it starts this huge scuffle. And it did feel like a little bit of a turning point. Did you need that rev up? Did you need somebody to start a fight and really get you engaged?
Yeah, sometimes I know, but sometimes you do kind of need that scuff opposition that it can lift you a bit and get the adrenaline. So I think there's a few times where Vossy's done that and it's kind of lifted the team a bit and we've got on a roll. So yeah, it might have to be a thing we do every week.
Hey, look, I've got to ask you personally as well, how are you finding Perth right now? Because a couple of years ago you made your way over to the Dockers and they were pretty ruthless about your early season form. There was the back page, $78,000 per mark, and it was pretty harsh on a 21-year-old. Can you just tell us how you felt at the time and how you've got through it to now essentially showcase, yeah, this is why the club brought me over?
Yeah, I don't really read into too much of that stuff anyway, so yeah, I did see that article, but yeah, it didn't faze me one bit, and yeah, I was a little bit slow the first few games, but yeah, I've got the utmost confidence in my ability, and I know that I'm still very raw in a lot of areas, so I just want to keep working on my game. I've got great people in my corner here at Freo that are helping me improve, so yeah, I've got a long way to go to be the player I want to be, but yeah, I feel like I'm getting there.
If there's any more ceiling, I think the rest of the competition is in a lot of trouble, Luke. Just quickly as well, Premiership Demons, so you know what it's like to be in a winning side. What does Fremantle have, I guess, in comparison to your 2021 side that you think will be equal to win the whole thing?
Yeah, there's a lot of differences. Like we're a lot younger at Freo, but I feel like momentum's a big thing. I remember in 21 we were really riding a lot of momentum at the D's, and yeah, got us all the way. And yeah, I feel like with this group, anything can happen at the right time. So yeah, if we really ride that momentum, keep working hard and knuckle down on the real stuff, yeah, anything can happen just like any other team. So yeah, we're excited.
Wouldn't be a terrible place to be as a two-time premiership winner at the age of 23, Luke. Congratulations on the win and best of luck for the run home.
Cheers, fellas. Appreciate it.
Great to have Luke Jackson on ABC Sport. It was a thrilling victory for the Dockers. They were up by 25 at quarter time. Port surged back in the second, lead by 2 at the half, 8 at three-quarter time, and Fremantle snatched back the lead in the dying stages with Alex Pearce taking a set shot after a huge contested grab. So the most unlikely of match winners comes all the way from down back, the skipper, and guides them home. They've won 11 of their last 12 and 5 of their last 7 after three-quarter time. So yeah, it's a tremendous run for Fremantle. They've got the Lions and the Dogs to come next as well. And Luke Jackson is the pillar of it all at such a young age. He's the everyman. He's so versatile, and we call Sam Darcy the unicorn. He's exactly the same.
So I like his outlook, the way he talks about the game. He presents as just a lad. Yep. But you can tell he's just a fierce competitor. He's got that real steeliness about the way he goes about his business. So he's got huge upside, as he touched on. He's still so raw. So look at over the years to come with Luke Jackson, his performances.
He's such a, talk about Fremantle being able to pull levers. He's their number one lever in it. Like, hey, Jacko, you're going on ball. And not as a ruckman, you're going as a midfielder. Jacko, you're going full forward. You're going to play back in defence. You're going to play wing. Like that's where he's going to get to. Well, he's kind of there. So big games when you need a bit of X factor, like they've got a pretty big one there in him. But he's a really good player, isn't he?
He is.
Really good player.
They started with Sam Darcy in the ruck and him as a midfielder, and he had 11 touches in the first quarter. And you talk about swinging him forward. I mean, he missed the shot, but they swung him forward for occasion. So it's pretty impressive stuff. Let's get down to the Port Adelaide rooms with Braden Ingram.
Yeah, I've got the power skipper with me, Connor Rosie. Connor, so close, but so far. You couldn't have done much more, could you, at the end?
Yeah, it's clearly a pretty frustrating. We felt like we got back to some of our better football. Clearly we're missing a fair few, but the messaging tonight was we haven't really got anything to lose, so might as well try and play our game style. And I thought we showed glimpses of some of our better football tonight, but wasn't quite able to get over the line, which is a bit frustrating.
That first quarter probably was the most frustrating element. You work your way back into it, but how were you able to turn things around given it was such a dire start?
I think with most games it probably starts around the football. We got on top in the second quarter around clearances and first possession. So they're a quality team. They have been throughout the last year or so. So full credit to them. But again, it's pretty frustrating. I feel like you do a fair bit right, but just don't quite get there.
That last term, you just did not give an inch. It felt like the pressure factor was through the roof, and no one was giving up anything. Was there much more you could have done at the end, or were we just a little bit unlucky?
The messaging was probably just a little bit more composure, probably coming out of our D50. I suppose when the pressure goes up, you can tend to just slam it on your boot a bit, and they set up pretty well behind the ball, and it probably just kept coming back in a fair bit and put our backs under pressure. So. It'll be something that we can look at for sure, trying to find a mark and release the pressure a bit at D50.
Felt like each time there was a player off, someone else was sore. There were a lot of guys, particularly in that back line, playing through pain, and then you lose Jack Lukosius to another calf issue. How's he?
He's pretty disappointed. I don't know if he will play for the next 2 weeks, so he's clearly had a pretty frustrating year, as of a lot of our squad, to be honest. So we've got 2 weeks to go, so we'll suit up again with whoever we can get out there and try and put some good effort and attitude into the last couple of weeks and hopefully steal a couple of wins.
Got time for a few quick questions upstairs.
Hey, Connor, Dean Brogan here, mate. Great effort tonight. It was really impressive to see. Just take me back to quarter time. What was the messaging at quarter time? Because you kicked 8 goals in the second quarter, and it looked like, from up here commentating, it looked like you just played loose, and every chance you got, you played on, and you got it right most of the time, but you also got it wrong at times too. But what it did, it just broke the game open, gave you guys a lot of energy, and it just looked like that was the Port Adelaide of old, really. That was just a sensational quarter. Talk me through the quarter-time messaging in that second quarter.
Yeah, you're spot on, Brokes. We touched on, or Kenny touched on, just trying to free us up a little bit, and I guess not worry about mistakes too much. When you concede a couple of goals, you can probably tend to go into your shells a bit and worry about turning the ball over. But Kenny gave us a bit of confidence to that if we're going to lose, we might as well go down swinging. And we tend to play our best football when we take the game on and get some leg speed around the football and give our forwards a good look at it. So it's nice to put little bits like that together and show glimpses, but it'd be nice to put together a full performance for sure.
And your hand, mate, you still look a little bit sore. I know you've said you'll keep playing until you can't play anymore. 2 games left. I know you would definitely want to play in these games, for not only for the football club but for Travis Boak. Is you're right for the next 2 weeks, or will you miss next week so you can play this last one? How is the hand, and what's the next 2 weeks look like for you?
It's all right, bro. I'm jabbing it up at the moment, so it's pretty numb, but I'll make sure I'm out there for the next 2 weeks. We're going to have a pretty decent break off, so I'll be right, mate. I'll make sure I'm out there.
Hey, Connor, Aaron Bryan's here. Just speaking of Travis Boak, how heartwarming was it for the squad that every time he touched it, the crowd rose as one, and they continued that through the entire night?
Yeah, absolutely, as they should. He's been such a great person for our football club. I've said it so many times now, but what he's done for our football club is amazing, and he's just a great role model on and off the field. So to see the respect that everyone gives him around the competition is absolutely well deserved, and I'd love to send him off the right way with a couple of wins for sure.
I looked at his stats at quarter time and thought, gee, maybe we can wrangle him for another season, because he had a tremendous night. I mean, he spoke about it during the week, but you would have seen it firsthand. Has the recovery just been pretty brutal? Because every game he has played, he's been in your top 5 possession getters.
Yeah, definitely. That's been his major strength throughout, and is why he's played such a long career. Is he just has a way of getting himself right for every week and in the mindset to play his best football. That's probably the most challenging part of AFL football, is suiting up every week and bringing the right attitude and effort. And like I said before, that's why he's such a great role model for all of our younger guys around the club.
Connor, it's Tom Wilson here. Speaking of one of the younger guys, Will Lorenz, I thought his pressure was great and even composure, having to bring the ball out of defence. Did you feel the same, and have you seen some growth from him over the last few weeks?
Yeah, he's one that's had to really grind his way through the Magpies and prove himself to the coaches, and when he's got his opportunities, showed exactly what you're touching on there. He's got great composure with the ball. He's probably not the quickest by leg speed, but he's one of those players that just seems to have a fair bit of time when he has the ball. But that's probably the positive you take from having a few injuries, is you can get some of those younger guys some games and some confidence that they can play at the top level.
Hey Connor, we've had a chat as well about some of the free agent recruits you could possibly target, and Isaiah Wanganeen-Miller is one of those. I imagine that's a headline act. If you brought in some more superstar mids, it just gives you a tremendous amount of depth. But would you like to stay at half back if that is the case, if there are other options to play through the middle? Do you think you could stay floating as a damaging, rebounding player?
That'll be a conversation we'll probably have over the off-season. My opinion, I don't really care too much, to be honest. Whatever helps us win, that's what I like doing. So, if we bring in a midfielder and that means that I go back to half back again, then so be it. Or whatever Kari thinks that is going to make us a good team going forward, that'll be my choice.
Connor, thank you so much for your time. It was a tremendous effort across the night, and hopefully you can jag a win across the next fortnight before the season wraps up.
No worries, guys. Thank you.
Great to have the Port Adelaide skipper Connor Rosie after a 6-point loss to Fremantle. It was a tremendous final quarter. They hit the lead thanks to Connor at the 26-minute mark, up by a point, and Alex Pearce snatched it late for the Dockers, the skipper of Fremantle. A couple of minutes to go before we wrap things up. Plenty to dissect tomorrow on AFL Sunday with Matt Clinch, midday through the ABC Listen app. The Suns win over Carlton by 19 points, and of course the result tonight. What happened earlier today with Sydney upsetting Brisbane, and now the Lions dropping out of the top 4. And the Dylan Shield Tribunal news that he's heading straight towards there wasn't graded by the MRO, but the recommendation is a 1-match ban after he pushed Mark O'Connor into his teammate who nearly got injured, Lamont Lual. Scott Thompson, Dean Brogan, do we know he's got the votes tonight for the ABC Sport Footballer of the Year?
Oh, I did write them down, Tomo. Did you do it?
Well, I've got some written down. We'll see how well we go, Brogues.
We can come together.
Do you want to go with the 3 or the 1?
Don't want to compare notes for a second? Well, I can rattle off some stats of the day. You guys can figure it out. So the Suns' 19-point victory, they were up by 45 points at one point, and Carlson kicked the first 5 goals of the final quarter, end up getting over the line. Ben King kicking 6. And Sydney, Isaac Heaney had a tremendous game. It was a flu game. He was sick and still had 23 and 5 goals. So, and go and check out his highlight as well in terms of the hanger he took on Josh Dunkley. Where did we land, guys?
Scotty Thompson said I could do it.
All right.
Much appreciated.
Here we go.
Had 1 vote, Butters. I thought he was Port Adelaide's barometer for most of the night. I had 2 for Wines. I thought Ollie Wines was really good. I thought he was bit tougher around the contest, tackled well, 15 contested possessions, 6 clearances. I thought he had a really good game. And I thought Lear was best on ground for both teams, actually. I thought he was sensational. 17 marks he took, and he's playing on 1 leg. Probably doesn't get enough credit being back there. I thought he was brilliant tonight. He's been pretty good, hasn't he, Lear? That's my 1, 2, 3. What do you think, Tomo?
Couldn't sneak a Freo player.
No Freo players for the winning side.
I'm off them, aren't I?
I was going to say, were you baiting them?
So I was going to.
Dean's going to ride in again now. We're going to hear about this.
I'm trying to bait the other team.
That's rough. I should mention as well, now that you pointed it out.
Don't Perth do their own one?
Because Tomo had Caleb Sarong for 3 votes, and he's had 28 touches tonight, and Fremantle have not lost this season when he's had 28 or more. So they're 11-0.
Why didn't put him in the votes?
So he's just got over the line, and they just won. So there you go.
Can I do it again? I forgot about Sarong to tell you the truth. Have my Port Adelaide goggles on.
What are you going to amend? Where are you going to squeeze him in?
I'd have him in as 1 or 2 votes. He wasn't 3. He was probably better than Butters, let's be honest.
Let's go Aaliyah, Wines and Sarong then.
Yep, done.
Adam Jones back in the studio can fix that up for you. Progs, thank you as always. It's good fun.
Thanks, boys. That was a good game.
Good to see you, Tomo.
Thanks, guys. Great to be here.
Huge thanks to Braden Ingram downstairs, Paul Brokenshire Tech, Adam Jones back in the studio, Tom Wilson, good calling as always. We'll see you next Saturday night for the Crows and the Pies. That's going to be rocking.
Cannot wait for that. It'll be sold out, and the Pies need to respond, otherwise they'll fall out of the top 4.
So Fremantle into the top 4 after a win tonight. So they leapfrog Brisbane, who lost earlier today, and will stay there regardless of what happens tomorrow. The Dockers, big fortnight to come for them with the Lions and the Western Bulldogs. ABC Sports coverage of round 22 continues tomorrow. So AFL Sunday from midday with Matt Clinch and Cameron Ling. And then we'll take you to Manuka Oval at 1 Eastern for the Giants and North Melbourne. You can hear the D's clash with the Bulldogs at the MCG from 2:30. And we wrap up the round out west as the ladder-leading Crows take on the bottom cellar-dweller Eagles. Could there be an upset in Perth? You'll have to tune in and find out from 4:30 Eastern Standard Time. What a finish here at the Adelaide Oval. Freo by 25 at quarter time, Port by 2 at the half, 8 at three-quarter time. Flurry of lead changes at the end, and Freo win by 6 for Saturday Night Football.